Yo, what's up? We're back. We've got bananaed on our main account. It's not tight. Let me change my thing. Chat. Yeah, we got nannered. We got nannered. What's up, guys? Tap the screen. Let's get some more people in here. We'll get back to where we were, guys. Is it a vintage hat or new? This is. It's not. It's not like old, but it's their vintage style hat. Yeah, it's new. What up, guys? What up? What up? What up? Chat. We got nannered on our main account. And if you guys want to help me get back to the viewership we had, tap the flippin' screen. I want to go see how many, what my viewer count was on YouTube. Because we were popping 20K views on my last YouTube. Fucking love that, guys. Fucking love that. They suspended me for a week. They suspended me for a week for being way too awesome as fuck. And it's a damn shame. That free speech y'all thought he was gonna take, y'all still have, right? That's what this is, right? For now, it's been 100 days. So Trump is attacking free speech on colleges and college campuses. There's a little college named Harvard that he is doing everything in his power to punish for being not the way he likes them to be, aka free speech. They should have their own hiring practices. They should be able to teach the way they want to teach. Trump is changing their IRS status, changing their legitimacy or their ability to have international students, which are 20% of their income, uh, removing $2 billion worth of science grants from them. He's also suing. He's also suing multiple law firms that were against him in the past. So basically, for them doing their free speech, he's punishing them with the federal government. Uh, and Matt says, what has Harvard done for us? They're literally the forefront of science and scientific research for us. So they're also the top law school in the nation, debatably the world. What do you mean? What have they done for us? Do they have to do things for us for them to have free speech? Is that what you're saying? Guys, if you want to know what fascism, the fascist creep looks like, it looks like Matt in the comments. American healthcare is the worst in both countries. How is Harvard healthcare? Harvard can't change the fact that we have multi-payer system, but they can change how good we are at doing science. That's what their job is. They're not in charge of the shitty healthcare system that Republicans insist we have. More proof they'll defend him on anything. They will. They'll defend them on anything. Anything that Trump does. He gives them the worst excuse and they run with it. Nothing could prove that wrong. Trump can do no wrong. I want to sign up for their free government course. They are. So according to somebody who sent me this TikTok earlier today, Harvard is putting their government courses on YouTube for free. Harvard level courses for free for us to learn. Like civics classes. You can sign up for a 4-week civics class if you want to. Bro, people pay thousands of dollars for that. You should be running towards it. If this big, beautiful bill goes through, the American people are going to suffer big time. I agree. I agree. MAGA, if they could read, they would be real upset about it too. I got a new drawing tablet. Congrats. Congrats. Guys, this is my alt account. If you haven't followed already, give me a follow. My main account's banned until the 2nd now. This is where I will be for the rest of the week. What are we snacking on, guys? If you're trying to wondering how is Pickles such a soy boy? How is he such a beta cuck soy boy? Guys, get your wasabi soy sauce peas, guys. Wasabi soy sauce peas is the answer. That's how I do it. You gotta eat your soy sauce peas, guys. They're delicious. And banned for 7 days. Yes, I heard about something about that Copen Zombie, how the age of dependence, like anyone older than 7 can't receive Snap. Pretty brutal. Oatmeal cookies. Guys, I'm thinking that these almonds are my lunch. My fridge is still broken, guys, so I don't have groceries. Fucking killing me. My landlord, I'm gonna text him right now, bro. If anyone's a soy boy beta cuck, it's my fucking landlord. Please don't hate me, Lou. Yeah, it's been like a week and a half. Yeah. It's Monday. Thursday is when I sent him. You know, it's a holiday. I'm gonna give him his 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 holiday, and then I'm fucking spreading his ass cheeks like an orange, like this. I'm gonna park a semi in there. Elote flavored almonds sound delicious. Text him first thing tomorrow. I will. I'm not a vegetarian, Breezy. No, I'm not that cool. I did get my live was bananaed for 7 days. It's true. Hold on, guys. Someone said, "How come all liberals look the same? Look like beta males? How come all Trump supporters look like this? Literally $7 sunglasses. Literally, this is your average Trump supporter. This is perfect. That's a Trump supporter. I bet there's like 17 of those in my chat right now. That's a Trump supporter. Why don't you get up off your ass and work, you dumb liberals? Why are you wearing that Carhartt hat?" That's y'all, dude. That's you. I'm gonna learn you today, you stupid liberal. That's you. That's y'all. That's you. Meanwhile, I look fucking awesome as fuck. Sorry, but I do. I look fucking way sweet. Yeah, I'm not allowed to wear Carhartt according to YouTube. Liberal man or I leave this world single. Tell him, Breezy. My mustache doesn't even connect to my beard, guys. I'm still fucking cooler than you. They are the best almonds, guys. Guys, do you know like this thing right here? Should I get one that looks like this guy? Can someone make me that? What's up with these goofy glasses? Guys, first of all, these are from DreamHack, okay? Fucking read it and weep. Hold on. You see that? See it says DreamHack? That translates to I'm fucking way cooler than you. All right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Real quiet after that one, huh? Real quiet. I'm here for the glasses. W. W. I question anybody's character who, if they hate on pickles. Thank you. I want to know where he gets them. Guys, you got to go to DreamHack to get these glasses. Got to go to DreamHack. I kind of look like Jeffrey Dahmer. We don't like that part. We don't like that. I'm taking the aviators back, guys. The conservatives are probably angrily slamming their desk saying he's too cool. It's happened. It's happened. They're not $10 glasses, they're $25 glasses. All right? They're $25. Get fucking wrecked. You need to stop being rude to Trump supporters. Trinity. Your guy, Trump, showed the world that it's okay to be an absolute prick in a debate. Your guy, Trump, called Ted Cruz's wife a dog and is the one who got famous for mouthing off in debates. You're not going to tone police my debates. You're not going to do it. Pickles had to panhandle for a week for those. Pink Cloud. Do you usually like make fun of poor people? Or do you make fun of panhandles? I can go right now to Trump the Billionaire's website where he's asking for money. It's the first pop-up. Guys, I can't hear you over how fucking awesome I am. If you want to debate me, hop in the box. Come on, Trump supporters. Someone debate this handsome man. The doll. You stop it. You stop it. Someone hand me some shades. Pickles is shining too bright. Breezy, it's an honor. Biden also signed the Inflation Reduction Act, which cost us trillions. Coast. Guys, Frederick Douglass has some very profound things to say. The Inflation Reduction Act. The Inflation Reduction Act literally made us $250 billion. But according to Frederick Douglass III, it cost us trillions of dollars. Guys, someone send me $1,000 so that I can pray for this individual. Someone send me $1,000 to pray to this individual with all the might that the Lord has to offer. He needs $1,000 prayer. For your own personal angel. Don't step on Paula White's grift. Biden, 8.8 trillion. Look it up. All right. All right, guys. I'm going to turn on the YouTube phone. I'm going to turn on the YouTube phone. You guys can call in from YouTube. Don't let that same guy up. You guys are gonna have to help me with the phone call with the voices. Why did you make a southern accent? Because I'm from Texas and I'm allowed to. I would have one if I didn't want to sound like y'all, or if I wanted to. But I so badly don't want anybody to mistake me for someone like y'all. What's up, Xander? I know some meds that could help with that. Help with what? My accent? The racists are allowed today. Yeah, the homophobes are here on YouTube. They are here and they're loud. You look like you've never worked a real job. No one's calling in. We'll wait. We'll wait, chat. YouTube, don't forget to give the live a thumbs up. And guys, I am so stoked that my YouTube is growing like a son of a gun. If you enjoy my YouTube content, give me a follow. My last YouTube video today, 20K. 20K? Fucking read it and weep, chat. Don't tell anybody, but me and my hubby love watching you. I fucking love that. Thank you so much. Followed you on all 4 of my YouTube channels. Fuck yeah. I voted twice for Trump on election day. That is a federal crime, Frederick. Sassy men and baby mamas hate Trump. Prove me wrong. You know what? I'm sassy. I'll say it. A little sassy. What's my YouTube channel name? It's Pickles GGS. It's also in my link tree. Is Pickles about to come out of the closet? Guys, I am straight, but I'm a huge ally. Love my gay people. Love my LGBTQ. IA+. Love them all. I'd kiss them all in the mouth. All of them. Mouth hugs. He has a script he must adhere to. Guys, I can't fucking read from a script while thinking. My brain doesn't do that. Guys, my phone line is open. What's going on here? It don't fit his narrative. What's the main thing you don't like about Trump? I think he's against the US Constitution. I think that's my main beef. You can't be a patriot and like Trump. That's it. You shorted Chris? What do you mean I shorted him? Where to buy my glasses? I was at DreamHack. I was at DreamHack this weekend and I bought them. Trump is too intelligent for most to understand. And you used the wrong two. It's TOO, Richard, for that one. That kind of two is TOO. He said you never kissed him in the mouth. Oh, I know. You know what? If Chris wants some smooches, I'll give them to him. I'd kiss him. Are they just PPE? They are blue light. So you see that big ring right there shining in my glasses? That shit keeps me up. It keeps me awake at night after staring into this for hours. So these blue light glasses, they stop the harmful light from getting into my eyes. Son of a mother's love. We talked to this guy already. Hello, is this a Trump supporter?
Yes.
You're too young. TikTok will ban me if I talk to you, okay? You can't call back, okay? I'm sorry.
Bro.
Bro, stop skibbitying my toilet. I don't know how else to say it. You got L Riz. Stop calling me, dude. Hello, is this a Trump supporter?
No, it's not, but I did have a few issues with some of the things you were saying.
Okay, like what?
I am not a Trump supporter, number one. I guess you could kind of say like third party almost. And I think that sometimes I see these streams and I find them to be counterproductive a little bit. I think that I grew up in rural Appalachia, and I'm sure you could imagine that a lot of people there are Trump supporters, obviously. And I think that shitting on Trump supporters is, I think it's very dehumanizing, and I think it doesn't really do anything worthwhile, if you know what I mean. I think that the Democratic Party really screwed up some of its messaging. And I think that people feel abandoned and just kind of left behind by our government. And I think that they went to an alternative that was much more bombastic and vocal and kind of sounds like he gets things done, but he doesn't. And I was just wondering what your opinion on that is.
I think that while a lot of these types of streams might meme on Trump supporters, I do have to be somewhat inflammatory to get a debate in here. But when I do have debates, they're very constructive. They're very meaningful, as I know how to be. And I'm not very demeaning. I'm probably, not to S my own D, but I'm probably the most level-headed debater on TikTok.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't think that's really the purpose of it. And I also think that I'm very unique in the sense that I show my receipts live on stream. And I try to be as educational as possible. So it's not necessarily for me to do clickbait or for me to meme on people or to do clip farming. I am legitimately trying to teach people on how Trump's messaging and all the things he says how to do, just like you said. All the things he says he's doing it's not real.
Yeah, a lot of it really is just absolute. I mean, I don't know how far I can go with my language here, but kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
And I just think that I think that people are very scared. I think that people wanted a solution. I mean, I'm not sure how you feel about her, but I think Kamala Harris was an absolute fucking joke as a candidate, as was her running mate. And
I don't think that's
true. I think the Democratic Party really. I'm not sure if it was like malicious incompetence or what it was.
Kamala's probably the most qualified candidate we've ever had.
Well, I think the way that she addressed a lot of issues, and I mean, I won't have a lot of examples because I just saw the stream and decided to call in. So I'm not exactly prepared. But I would say a lot of the things that she addressed, people are kind of done with like identity politics and things, the larger voter base. Not to say that inequality doesn't exist or these things aren't important.
I would beg to differ. I think the bullying in identity politics is more catchier, and Kamala wasn't trying to do. She didn't say anything in regards to like. She may have done some special programs maybe that targeted like black voters, but other than
which
that,
is as old as politics.
She's never
itself, like
she's never like she didn't say the word trans once. Like that was Trump. He spent $217 million trying to run ads about anti-trans stuff. And I think that MAGA is vehemently only social like wedge issues and identity politics. They just don't realize it. They don't really know how to regurgitate. Whenever I ask them, I corner them and say, hey, what policy did you vote on? They don't know. They just think that Kamala laughs too much or something. But Kamala was the only person with 27 years experience in the government. She's worked in all three branches. She has done nothing but work for the people of the United States in her like largest part of her career. She's done nothing but work for people. She's the most she's the most qualified person that's to ever run for office, I think. So I think it's not a laughable joke. I think she would have been a fantastic president.
What would your stance be with her Ukrainian policies, such as supporting Ukraine and things? I mean, let it be said that I do not support any tyranny of any kind, let alone an invasion of a sovereign nation. But I don't see. Trump. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that as well. And as I've said, I'm not a Trump supporter, but I think at least with a lot of people I know, they're not anti-Ukrainian, but they sure are pro not going to war. if that makes any sense. My dad was a
Yeah.
veteran
No,
during
nobody.
Iraq, and
Trump is the only person that is gullible and who could be manipulated by Putin, in my opinion. So, like,
oh, I agree.
you saw a video today of Trump going, "Putin, stop! Come on! Like, what's he doing? He's bombing Ukraine now more than ever. Like, I thought we were friends. You got played.
Yeah,
Putin is playing you, and it's very obvious. I don't think Kamala would have fell for that. And I think the best thing to do would be to support Ukraine until Russia ran out of people to throw into the meat grinder.
right.
And I think that she had the best stance on it easily. I think that Trump is openly accepting
Sure.
corruption and like bribes from nations like Saudi Arabia and Qatar. And
You-
I think that he has no actual stance on foreign policy besides the person who maybe kisses his ass or gives him the most money.
No, I agree, but one of the questions would be, I have friends in the military, because that was really one of like the two routes out of where I lived. Growing up in high school and everything, it was either like coal mining or you go to the military. And with coal mining, you weren't even leaving, but you were making more money. And a lot of my friends who joined the military were very scared of her getting elected because what happens if Russia doesn't run out of people to throw into the meat grinder? Obviously, they've shown that the so-called special military operation, they're just going to keep throwing people. So what if she had gotten us into a larger conflict, I suppose, is a big thing that I know from people that I know as to why they did not vote for her.
I'm more scared of NATO and what they're going to do to us if we decide to like take over Greenland or Panama.
Oh, absolutely. I would be very frightened of that as well. But I don't actually see that happening. I mean, do you? I don't think it's very realistic.
Trump's unpredictable.
scenario.
I have no idea what the fuck he's gonna do.
That's true. That's true. He's shown himself to be pretty much a bottle rocket with a match set next to it. So that's understandable. But yeah, just wanted to call in. Now, would you say that there was anybody better who could have ran for office this past election? I feel like
Nobody is
Bernie Sanders.
Nobody is qualified. Bernie Sanders too old.
I agree with that. I mean, but I don't know. I just wish someone more. I'm talking about optics here, but less in the political machine, if that makes any sense, and more of the people. I think the Democrats would
I think
really.
the words they might be looking for is less woman, less black.
No, of course not. No, but Kamala Harris certainly did not act like she was of the people, whereas Donald Trump, whether we like to admit it or not, he acts disgusting, but he has a certain unfortunate charisma to him.
34-time
So it's
felon,
great.
fraudster, con man,
Yeah.
tried to steal the election, cried about losing the election for 4 years, or a black woman. It's not that hard.
Well, I would say that a lot of the policies that she had, I don't think that it resonated with a lot of Americans. And I mean, I'm not pro Trump.
Policy. She had policy written down, and Trump didn't. It's sad. Trump had like the equivalent of like a fifth grader, what he would turn in if he ran for president.
No, he had about a fifth grader's paragraph of policy, which is make America great again, not going to tip or not going to tax tips, things of that nature. No, I understand that. I'm not trying to be combative, but I just think that I think that a different Democratic candidate really would have done a lot better. And it has nothing to do with the gender or the race of a person.
Literally on paper, name a person who's more qualified than Kamala. I literally can't. I just can't.
Well, I suppose if we had a time machine, I think Bernie maybe 20 years ago would have been a lot better. But obviously, that's just kind of playing in theoreticals, isn't it?
And still, he was a proven to have he lost the presidential election to Trump already. So L.
Well, I've heard murmurs that the DNC kind of screwed him on that.
Well, I don't
Now
know.
I'm not super politically savvy, but one of my best friends is actually like his family's from Europe. He's a democratic socialist, and he's very big on left leaning politics, and he swayed me quite a bit. I'm a recovering libertarian, so pardon me. But I just think that yeah, I think there might have been better candidates.
I still haven't heard one though.
From me, I don't think you'll get one, unfortunately. I'm not politically savvy enough to list them. I mean, I can remember. Shit, I can't really remember anyone running for office other than Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. So, I mean, not exactly the best sample pick here. But I just wanted to call in and just say that, thank you for not shitting on people. I grew up in an area where I know a lot of Trump supporters who are not racist. And I would wager to say that most aren't. Most are not evil fascists. Most are very
I
scared,
would say
confused
that
people.
while some might not be, I don't know, I think it's just about impossible to just be entirely not racist today. But I think that racism is definitely not a deal breaker for them, is what I would say. Every single one of them,
Yeah.
racism and like treating women, like sexually abusing women, is not a deal breaker. It's enough for me to say that most of them are probably just bad people in general.
No, I'd push back on that. I mean, I I've been to a lot of places. I've lived in purple states. I've lived in deep red states. I've lived in uh, pools of blue states, and I have never found anyone who has been a Trump supporter necessarily to be evil. Now, they say a lot of things that I vehemently disagree with,
I don't
but
really
in no
believe in
way.
evil, but I would say they definitely have character flaws that are pretty much
Sure.
deal breakers when it comes down to it. Like, if I had a friend that was like, you know what, I just don't really care about women's rights to like bodily autonomy. I'd be like, all right, well, we're not friends. Cool.
Well, I think that's a fair summation of a certain part of people who are Trump supporters. I think there are a lot of people out there who really don't care about women's rights. And I think that Roe v. Wade being overturned was a miscarriage of justice, to be honest. But I think to engage with these people, the DNC really needs to get back on labor rights and things that are more
Believe me, we won't
useful.
have to do anything. We'll just have to point to what Trump is now doing right now to labor rights to do that.
No, but it didn't work the first time. He
It
won.
it'll be fresh in their mind, and we'll be able to like listen, like, hey, Trump has fired the people in the NLRB. He's made it to where like 60-hour work week is now the standard, which isn't happening. But I'm just saying these are the types of
Right,
things
right.
Trump is championing. He is going to fuck y'all over. He's gonna make jobs disappear with these tariffs. Profit margins are going to shrink. Business revenue is going to shrink in a lot of areas, and it's because Trump wanted
Agreed.
to do economic war with people, and people are going to lose their jobs. The economy is going to shrink. It's because of Trump, and
I
they're
mean,
going to
I
say, "Hey,
don't see
I
it
kind of want
he
the
has.
fucking economy to go back the way it was before Trump did executive orders to fuck up the entire economy."
Right. Yeah, no, he's certainly fucked everyone in North America, uh, at the very least. Not even expanding that view to the world, rather, but he's certainly fucked everyone in North America
Yep.
for their price of goods and services, which is, well, I don't know if you it would cover services, but certainly things you buy at the store, right? Um, but yeah, that's all I just wanted to do. Just call in because I see a lot of streamers on. I use YouTube Shorts, and I see a lot of streamers who are. Um, I'm progressive in a lot of ways, but even I would say pretty radical or just demeaning to people who are conservative. And I'm conservative in certain personal respects, but I don't believe in government enforcement of those views. But yeah, I just wanted to call in. Thank you for doing what you do. I appreciate the show.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Bye.
Chat, follow the stream if you enjoy these debates. This is my backup account, so if you think you already follow me, double check. It's right here. Give me a follow. No quarter. Thank you so much for the 2 month subscription. Thank you so much, guys. Also, I have a Cash App and Venmo in the bio. If you guys are trying to kick somebody, it's $40. Or if you just want to buy me a coffee, I love you. What happened to the main account? I got kicked for misinformation from what one of my guests was saying, bringing up names of substances, etc. The phone line is back on. I can't find the TikTok live. My TikTok live is dark_pickles. Pay to kick's the most childish thing I've ever heard of. I like it. I like it. It also kind of assures that if you really don't want to get kicked, you'll stay in good faith. If people see you not arguing good faith, you're more likely to get paid to kick. I like it. What's up, y'alls? What's up, Ariel? How's my Memorial Day? It's going okay, guys. It's going okay. I did get banned on my bananaed on my main account. Was Biden better than Trump overall? Yes, by light years, absolutely. Anybody who thinks otherwise probably doesn't know a single thing Biden did because they're more interested in people eating dogs and cats. They don't watch real politics. They don't really know much about the government. How's my YouTube numbers? Pretty good. Pretty good. My last stream got 20,000 views on YouTube earlier today. It's very rare you kicking around. Yeah, I could just kick on my own, but I very rarely do, unless somebody's saying something really insane. The dogs and cat things was literally it was last year is what got him elected. It was right before he got elected. It's very sad that you guys bought into that. Debbie with the sub, thank you so much for the auto renew. How's life as an agent, guys? I'm still waiting on you on TikTok to get back to me. I'm fairly certain it's going to go through, but there's like usually a 3-day turnaround is what they said. I think it's the holiday weekend that's making things go slow. Trump is finished. We're all on the Steve Bannon train now. Steve Bannon, the podcaster. You guys really do suck at picking them, dude. Yeah, you guys, we are a little bit slow today. If you're a Trump supporter, you want to debate, hop into the box. Come tell me why you like Trump. Biden opened the border, ruined a lot of states. Come up here and tell me what laws Biden changed that opened the border. And please tell me which ones Trump has changed back. Go ahead and tell me. Now that he's in office, which ones did he change? Steve Bannon, 2028, 2032, Dan Bongino, and then Nick Fuentes. Jesus Christ. Nick Fuentes, dude? All right. New account. This is my alt. I'll be here for about a week, guys. Guys, my phone number is on the screen. If you guys want to debate, dial the phone number. Call in. Come tell me why you like Trump if you're on YouTube. Can we get stickers? Are there not stickers on this one? Hold on. Yeah, it's only on YouTube. No images? No. Pink Cloud. Apparently I need TDS therapy, but you are here quite a bit, dude. You're here quite a bit. I did appeal it. Nothing happened. Those are the only stickers? Okay, Debbie, let me update those stickers. You have negative testosterone, guys. I'm 6'4", and I'm experiencing hair loss. So I might have too much testosterone. Tay, thank you so much for the sub. High key, high T. I like that, Gemini. I like that. Trish with the 6 months. Trish, too good to me. If you don't like it, go live in Somalia. How many of y'all moved when Biden was president and you guys were kicking, screaming? You guys were charging FBI buildings with ARs. How many of y'all moved? Yeah, nobody can see the top of my head. Exactly. Should we sub on both accounts? It doesn't hurt. Shoo. Love it, Tay. Need better stickers. I need to re-download all of my stickers and then re-upload them. It'll be a hot thing. Cade, Natty, thank you so much for the auto renewal as well. God dang, you guys are fucking too awesome. Thank you. Hello, is this a Trump supporter?
Yeah, Pickle. Hey, man, I'm gonna say you a good dude, man. I've been watching you for like a long time, Pickles. You a real good dude, man. That's all I want to say. You a good dude. You a smart dude. We listen to you every day up in here. You know what I'm talking about, Pickle. You a good nigga, man. You a good dude. We love you, Pickle. Keep it up, man.
Dude,
you smart. You a good dude.
Fuck yeah. That's Rich 4 for sure, dude. I love that guy. I love him, dude. We need 50 subs before we can send any gifted subs. Hold on. I missed. Somebody gave me 20 gifted earlier. Was that you, Trish? Who gave me fucking 20 gifted? Annie, thank you so much. Hello?
Hello, how are you?
Doing good. Are you a Trump supporter?
No, I'm kind of in a weird middle between I'll just say the Trump and the left.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because, a little context, I was a history major and I'm becoming a history teacher. And of course, you know, I have to read a bunch of philosophy, I have to read a bunch of history textbooks. And I'm sitting here looking at the polarization of our country. And I wanted to know your thoughts on how quite a few left people are leaning towards perhaps like Mark Cuban and maybe left-wing billionaires opposed to right-wing billionaires.
Why people are leaning towards billionaires on the left?
Yeah. I've seen quite a few. I live in Houston in Harris County, so I've seen quite a few of my friends talk about how it would be amazing for Mark Cuban, for instance, to run for president after Trump. And I want to know your thoughts on that.
I think that Maybe the line of reasoning would be like all of these silly people who look up to Trump because of his money. No matter how bad the things he says are, or how bad his ideas are, or how incoherently he speaks, they still say, well, he's rich. Maybe we will
Mm.
get the same reaction out of people if Mark Cuban ran. I don't know. That's not my favorite idea. I like Mark Cuban, but I don't know. I don't know if that's the best idea in the world. I also just don't think it's great. I don't think any billionaire is going to have the middle class or the lower class best interest at heart when writing like things like the tax code. So every day of the week, billionaires make multiple phone calls to their executives who run companies for them, and they say, "Hey, how are you going to make my bottom line bigger? How are you going to increase my profit by 1%? How are you going to do that?" They're not going to sit around and pass a tax code that taxes themselves more. They're not going to do things that shift wealth or stop consolidating wealth at the top 1% and move it back down to the rest of the economy. They're not going to tax capital gains. They're not going to do anything like that. They're going to do the opposite. So I just don't think that's a very pragmatic idea. I think we should keep billionaires out of politics, if you ask me.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that. So then what degree do you believe that politicians would understand the bottom line or the middle class more than people uh, pouring money into campaigns? I mean, I'm sitting here and I look at governors' portfolios, and they're quite well. No, so what makes the difference between uh, Ted Cruz or Waltz or somebody making millions versus a billionaire or a millionaire pouring money into a campaign?
I think we should have a cap on our campaign finance. I think we should cap it at
Mm.
a like $1 million or something. I don't know what would be right, but Canada, they spend like 2% of what we spend on their elections, and it's wildly insane. I think
Yeah, yeah.
we're accelerating as fast as we can to late stage capitalism, where billionaires have found out that they can just buy the presidency and control the politics of the rest of the world and enrich themselves.
Yeah, no, it's quite well, I'm sure you've heard that people compare things now going back to the Gilded Ages of America times. I'm sure you've heard that once or twice from at least one or two people. But I'm still hopeful. I'm still hopeful as a future teacher who took my teaching certificate test earlier this week. But no, thanks, man, for doing everything that you know you do. It's like you and oh, I forget his name, Brian something, that do a lot of work on YouTube. That's quite interesting comparatively to a lot of just mainstream right wing news. So thank you for at
Appreciate
least
that.
answering calls.
Thank you. All right. Well, thanks for being cool.
Yeah, you too. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Brian Tyler, dude, if you put me in the same boat as Brian Tyler Cohen just in, that's how you get your fucking toe sucked. Don't you be speaking those words. The phone line's back open, chat. Teachers need to stop brainwashing kids. Guys, are you talking about removing the Bible from classrooms? Because I want that too. We have oligarchs that can buy elections. Musk and Teal did. That is correct. Yeah, eat those Bibles, guys. Can you set a better gift goal and sub goal? It should help the algo. My shit. Let me see. All right. Um, brain. Let's do this. Edit. Reset. I'm gonna do puppy kisses. Let's do 100 puppy kisses. Save. Save. Sub goal. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you for the puppy kisses. Sub goal. Awesome. People only. We'll do. I have 37, so. What are you, 50? There we go. There we go. The cheek movement is. I love it. I thought I talked to this guy earlier. Thank y'all so much. Thank you, Carla, for the puppy kisses. Thank you, Denise and Bobby, for the puppy kisses. So sweet. Someone says my girl pegs me. Guys, don't knock it until you try it. Be for real, dude. Is Pickles here? She is. Guys, I'll try anything 3 times. Hello? Is this a Trump supporter?
Oh, hello. I tried to call in earlier and it just said the Google subscriber is not available every time.
Yeah, I turn on Do Not Disturb when I'm in the middle of a call or something. You're a Trump supporter?
Sort of. I was the first time around. I don't support him this time, but I think probably for different reasons than most of the people on your side of the aisle.
Okay, why do you not support him anymore?
Well, first of all, the first time I voted for him, I had certain expectations of like policies he would pursue. He didn't. Just the straight up abandonment of like certain priorities that I had for policy. And then 2, like his absolute disdain for service members is just insufferable.
Okay.
Also, he doesn't represent conservative values in any way.
I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I mean, like there are things that his administration is doing that I agree with, even if I disagree with the way they're going about it. So I figure I was here earlier, and it was you had some really low information, I guess you could say, conservatives, and it was honestly kind of insulting to listen to them. So I figured I'd give you less low-hanging fruit.
I don't know. I guess if you're gonna argue pro-Trump stuff, I guess I would ask you what your first pro-Trump policy would be, or pro-Trump take would be.
So the first one would probably be like brute forcing through deportation orders. Not like the like badgeless like masked up ICE, like people just running around doing what they want, but absolutely like forcing through like deportation orders, like telling judges to get bent is I'm absolutely fine with, because this game of like this game that has been played for the past like 20 years of like, oh, we're gonna address immigration, and then there's like a push towards like certain net numbers, but the fact of the matter is that like in every single westernized nation for the past 30 odd years, immigration and lowering immigration, not lowering the rate of immigration, lowering immigration has been a leading issue in every single Western democracy. And in every single election, people have sided with the person who is more aggressive on immigration without fail.
Yeah.
And
So
every
so
single
what
time,
what this is it's kind of like a nativism thing. It's
yeah,
it's a
absolutely.
it's a political tale as well as time. If you don't really have anything useful to run on, if you have nothing to offer your constituents, you can run on kicking out immigrants because you can get people up in arms about it very easily. You can get people motivated to vote for it, even without any real data to show people how they might be like hurting the country. He can just kind of yap about it. So like Trump was like, "Oh, they're coming over here. They're raping our people. They're killing people." The year that he said that, there were a total of 3 people that were unalived by migrants, and if someone was smart enough to call him out on that, it still wouldn't have mattered. It's too viral. All of the false narrative, it's too viral to diffuse. So um, uh, I always bring up the fact that last year there were 29 migrants that were unalived or there were 29 people unalived by non-citizens, which is like half as many as like the amount of people that were killed by bees and wasps. And there's no amount that would be too little for people to still feel outraged about. And Trump is spending hundreds of billions of dollars on this and taking away people's rights and invoking wartime law because of this. And it's sad. Even after Germany, after we learned from all of that, people still don't know better about the like rhetoric that's used to win campaigns.
I mean, so first of all, like people are allowed to be upset about immigration for other reasons than like the clickbaity bullshit that they put on what Fox News. I don't know who else. What else does Rupert Murdoch own? I don't know. People have legitimate reasons to be upset, right? Because we had a functioning like workers program in the '60s, right? We absolutely did. We had like the Bracero program, right? And that went away. And so now when people come here and they come here illegally, they have to be able to draw a paycheck. And one of the most frequent ways that they do that is, unfortunately, they are forced into collaboration with more sinister criminal elements. You have identity theft, you have wage
That's not true.
depression. What do you mean?
They're 80% more likely to become entrepreneurs, and they are beneficial to our economy in just about
Illegal
every way.
immigrants?
No,
Illegal
yes,
immigrants are 80%
yes, non-legal immigrants, yes.
are more likely to become entrepreneurs.
Yes.
80% more likely.
Yeah.
Then what? Then what population?
Then citizens.
Really?
Yes.
Where's that number from?
I'll pull it up right now.
Yeah. Well, and also like that requires them, right? That requires them to be successful in this country, which means they're pulling a wage that is not being pulled by a born citizen. I'm not saying that these people
Yeah, so
aren't
like
motivated
think about
people. I'm not saying these people aren't motivated people. I'm not saying that they're not hardworking people. I'm also not saying that they're skilled people. But I'm saying that absolutely is legitimate for a government to have obligations to the people that are born in a country and whose parents were born in a country.
That's fine, but like the right has voted
it fine,
against
though?
every single effort that we've tried to give people a pathway to like legal citizenship or to stop the incentive for people to come here. So like recently we had James Langford write up a bill, who is like the second most conservative person in Congress. He wrote up a bill last year, and it was going to give us more judges, more people at the border, all these other things, and more judges adjudicating these asylum claims, having them turn around in 6 months rather than 6 years, that would have
Yeah.
like reduced the people coming to the border with shitty asylum claims who were just lying about it. They wouldn't come here for 6 months to be kicked out. They would just not come at all. So that's one
Yeah.
thing that the right stopped us from doing. Trump himself stopped this bill from happening. And
Yeah, I
every
don't,
other
like I
time
said,
that every other time
I
that
don't,
we've tried to expedite the process of people coming legally here, they have this perpetuated lie that we're trying to make people get here to vote Democrat. So there
no, no,
will
no, no.
be no instance where the right's like, you know what, let's give them pathways to citizenship. So the harder it is to come here legally, the more likely they are to just come illegally.
No, 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 no. Okay, so I agree that like these hardcore MAGA people that he's like accumulated over the last 8 years, like are it like politicking in bad faith. He's like the original coalition of people that got him elected the first time around has been like kind of shed in a way, and he's basically left with mostly evangelicals, right? Would that be fair to say?
Say that one more time.
The original coalition of like people like malcontents like myself, like younger malcontents that got him elected in 2016 has been largely driven away, and he's basically left with all the evangelicals. Would that be fair to say?
No, he has more votes than last time, so I don't know. I don't know where you'd be able to show me like a shift in voters. I think you become even more radicalized if you voted for him the first time. Trump has kind of had like a pipeline of being like vote for me, I'm an outsider, to vote for me, the system's against me, become anti-government, become anti-FBI, anti-federal government, to they're stealing the election, to like he's dragged these people through a whole adventure of conspiracy.
Low information talking point.
Yeah,
Low
so,
information talking
yeah.
point.
So these people are the same people that usually, if you voted for him the first time, you are very low information, and you've just stuck to the like the soap opera that plays out in front of you on TV.
I don't watch television, so I don't know. Like, what you're saying that like I was low information the first time around?
Yeah, definitely.
I disagree thoroughly. I think there were a lot of reasons to not want to vote for another establishment politician, and we had zero electoral experience with
Yeah,
the guy.
that's literally no good reason to do it. Trump didn't even have a policy written down. He had no policy for his campaign, and anytime he's ran for president. So if you're going between the two candidates and just like reading their policy, you would just look at Trump's campaign and be like, oh my god, and be like, yeah, can't vote for that.
Yeah, but like I said, saying that being anti-establishment isn't a valid reason to vote for a protest candidate, I disagree entirely. Like, continuing to vote for people who suffer no consequences from not following through on policy promises, is not like, it's not like a high IQ move. Like, it doesn't make you smarter to vote for people who
So
continue to fail at to deliver on promises, which is why I didn't
if
vote
you
for him
think that-
again in his subsequent elections. If
Okay,
I didn't vote for him again in his subsequent elections,
if you think that Mexico is going to pay for a wall, and after he calls people from Mexico rapists and criminals, you are, I don't know, something close to a low information person. Yes, I think that you are fucking out of your mind.
see, here's the thing, right? You keep coming at, because I want to address a point that we got sidetracked on earlier because you wanted to call me low information. You keep saying, well, yes, but we wanted to provide a path to citizenship. The electorate in Western democracies do not want to expand legal immigration. Like, ultimately, like, this kind of gets boiled down to this like legal versus illegal point, because people really like to harp on it because it's easy for palatable conservatives to retreat to this point of, I'm not against immigration from other nations, I'm against illegal immigration. It's a way more defensible, like Mott and Bailey position.
That's not even defendable
single,
anymore either. Trump is undoing everybody's legal status as well.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, the talking point of legal versus illegal is like a easy Mott and Bailey argument for palatable TV conservatives. Yes.
Not anymore.
I'm not saying whether or not
after
they
Trump
agree with
has
it.
undone 230,000 people's legal migrant status as of right now.
Yes.
You can't even say that anymore.
I'm not saying they believe it. Once again, I'm not saying they believe it, but it is a talking point that they like to retreat to.
Yeah,
yes?
I hear it all the time. Yes, and that's my response to them. Yeah.
Okay. But you're operating on like a fundamental misunderstanding of what I said the first time around. saying, oh, well, we wanted to reform immigration to give more people a pathway to legal citizenship is not addressing the argument that every single Western democracy for literally a generation has voted in favor of reducing immigration, full
Yes,
stop.
because it's
Not
easy
reducing
to
legal
run a
immigration.
campaign on that. Yes, I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. Like you're pointing to the fact that a lot of people were tricked. That's what I'm saying.
No. But have people been getting tricked for literally generations? Like
Yes.
if you go back to like certain westernized nations, you can go back to literally the 70s and people were like complaining about this.
Yeah, I know.
And like
When
so
will they ever
people-
fix
so-
it? Never. We'll never have it fixed. You know, if we have one person come through that's an illegal migrant, they will still win a presidency using that one person in the future.
No, absolutely not. Like the thing that has driven this rise in like very extreme nativism, as opposed to the kind of milquetoast nativism of like the 90s, okay, like the fucking Star Spangled Banner fucking citizenship like nativism, like citizenship pest nativism, is absolutely dead in the water. And the reason that it is dead in the water is because time and time again, the people who vote, i.e., the people who constitute a democracy, keep voting to lower immigration. You can sit there and say,
But
"Oh,
there's
well,
no
nativism is a
actual-
low."
There's
Hold on.
there's no
No,
symptom.
I'm not. I haven't interrupted you yet, have I?
Go ahead.
Saying that because you believe that nativism is like a bad position or like an incorrect position does not change the fact. Do we live in a democracy, and is that a desirable state of affairs?
Yeah,
Is living in a democracy a desirable state of affairs?
Of course, but
So
you're
when a majority,
you're pointing to-
of,
you're
no,
you're, you're
hey,
pointing to
I
popularity,
haven't
and
interrupted
that's
yet.
that's a logical fallacy. Go ahead.
No, it's not. When multiple generations of people and that constitute a majority of an electorate in a democracy vote for a policy, saying that that policy should at least be executed on in good faith is not a logical fallacy. That is the nature of democratic government.
Yeah, I know. Okay, this is the thing though.
No. Address it. Can you just dismiss it?
You just finished your sentence. I'm gonna point out where you're incorrect.
Okay, go for it.
No matter how small it is, even right now, we have Trump's reduced the number of people coming to the border by 90-something%, right? He will still say that we're under an invasion and use laws, and people are cheering him on. And no matter what, they've been running on this for decades. They haven't done anything to fix it. Trump passed 0 bills in his first administration to fix immigration because they need this. They need this to run on. They have nothing of substance to offer anybody. It's fear tactics, and there's no actual symptoms. There's no crime. There's no economic thing that we can point to say that immigrants are hurting us. In fact, we have nothing but information saying that the economy is better with all of the migrants in it, even the illegal ones. We have data showing that they paid $97 billion in taxes last year. There is literally nothing you can point to of substance. So every time someone votes to be anti-immigrant, they are voting low information. They are voting on some watered down version of fascism.
So Keir Starmer and the UK Labour didn't just come out and say that no increased levels of immigration don't actually help the overall resiliency of the economy. Are they fascist? Is Keir Starmer a fascist?
Probably, but they also have like a 30%. They also have like a 30%. They have a 30% population of immigrants, while we have like a 2%.
No, it's actually lower than ours. It's actually lower than ours.
No, they don't. It's not lower than ours.
The proportion of foreign-born British nationals is lower than our foreign-born population.
I'm gonna go ahead and pull that number up. All right, and you're gonna be wrong. What percent of is legal migrants? Uh, 1.2 to 1.8% of resident population being unauthorized. 800,000 to 1.2 million in 2017. Estimates are that they are
2022. This thing from 2022 has them at identical levels. So, but also, I think this is before Boris Johnson. It might not be.
They also have a different. They also have a different tax system. So if they don't have anything like an ITIN like we have, they also get free healthcare, which could be a larger tax on the economy than what they could produce here. And not to mention, we have studies from Congressional Budget Office that say they're going to grow our GDP by $1.7 trillion over the next few years, which is boatloads more than Trump's insane fucking tax cuts and all the other shit he's trying.
I don't agree with his tax cuts, but also I don't agree with his tax cuts. This big
That's
beautiful
not
bill
relevant.
is the big beautiful bill is gross. I agree. It's
That's
stupid
not
and
relevant.
it's disgusting.
That's not relevant. I'm
What do you mean
saying
it's not-
migrants are
what's
adding
not
to the
relevant?
economy.
Okay, no, they're adding to nominal GDP. That's not the same thing. Like, for example, stock market gains add to nominal GDP. The effect that has on the actual economy is not necessarily a one-to-one, because a large amount of stock market gains are driven by rising PE ratios, not by increased like economic strength. So saying that nominal GDP growth automatically means that they're helping the economy is not true.
I would say
And
they
even
help.
if-
They
and-
help
and-
15 times. They add a demand for goods, so they actually are like, I think by far better than like adding a few billionaires into the economy.
I don't know what adding, like, why do you think I'm in support of adding, quote unquote, a few billionaires to the economy?
That's
Also,
what
like I
Trump's
said-
position is. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you're talking about GDP growth in a malignant way, and I'm saying that by far, if you have a group of 100,000 people surge in town and say, "Hey, I need to buy a fucking sandwich," that helps the GDP in every good way I can possibly think of.
Yeah, it's also inflationary pressure. It's also a strong inflationary pressure, which literally steals the
Now,
money
if
blind
supply
out of people's
can
bank
meet
accounts as it
demand,
sits.
and eventually will, I think it's fine.
Eventually, people don't live in eventually, they don't live in graphs over time. Like, people live day to day. So the introduction of severe inflationary pressures at a time when wealth inequality is at an all-time high is not necessarily an automatic good. It is not an automatically good thing. Additionally, just because the economy, quote unquote, is doing well, that doesn't mean that people are doing well. Saying that the influx of millions and millions of immigrants over the course of less than a generation has no effect on wage depression, has no effect on Americans bleeding skills into foreign nations. I disagree. You can look at all these fucking studies that come out that say Americans are lower skilled. Americans are lower skilled and mechanically inclined professions than people in Mexico, than people in China, than people in Vietnam. This has an actual detriment to the quality of life of Americans in a large portion of the country.
Okay, we are in population decline too, which is hurting our economy.
Yeah, that's also bad.
Yeah, so these people help that.
No, because saying that these people help that because you're adding population is such a economic way to view humans. It's really silly. If let's say your house is struggling, right? Your home is struggling, and you are struggling to pay your bills, and you feel like your credit is slipping. And I say, oh, don't worry about it. I'm going to improve your household finances, and I give you 10 roommates. I haven't improved your household finances.
Yeah, but
I might have increased the gross revenue of the household, quote unquote, but I haven't improved your quality of life.
Here's the thing, though.
At a cost.
This is a huge misrepresentation, right? So if you ask any Trumper, if you ask Trump today on Truth Social, you'll read that he says 21 million people have been led over here in the last 4 years. That is a parallel to what your little analogy was just now. But if you actually look at the numbers, if you're not radicalized by the Trump messaging, you'll see that the population of non-citizens in the United States have gone from 11.7 million in his administration to 13 million. It's literally the smallest increase in population. It's not even noticeable. But if you remove more than that, if you remove millions of migrants, if you reverse people's legal status just for the sake of getting your deportations up, it hurts the economy. It hurts the economy so bad, and people will continue to cheer it on because they're illegal.
No, it hurts nominal GDP.
It hurts the labor market. It hurts a lot of things, not just nominal GDP.
It hurts growth. It hurts growth. But if deflationary pressures help people fucking stop bleeding out into credit cards and fucking debt, then deflationary pressures are good, even if they are painful. What do you mean? You just said that doing that absolutely slows growth and absolutely puts downward pressures on nominal GDP. How is that not deflationary pressure?
Okay, you think that you think that GDP shrinkage is deflation?
No, I'm saying it's a deflationary pressure. It usually indicates that there's deflation happening. But the problem is we haven't been in a deflationary cycle in living memory, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, but Trump's if Trump does what he promises with deportations, uh, first of all, what he's already done is decrease tourism by 11%, which is fucking up people's economy, fucking up people's business. But we're also going to see shrinkage in the economy akin to the '08 market crash.
I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of people like the '08 market crash was bad, and it was really bad because a bunch of people who should have gone to jail didn't go to jail. But
Okay,
in
and
case you
Trump is
noticed,
trying to undo all the things we did to fix that, but sure.
like I said, once again, I didn't say I support, like, I don't support a lot of the things Trump is doing.
I know,
don't
but
support
I feel
Elon
like that
Musk.
was, like, I feel is irrelevant.
What do you mean it's irrelevant? You keep pointing to, well,
Saying
Trump
that
is
people should
doing
have
it.
gone for the '08 market crash is not addressing what I'm saying about how Trump's deportation is going to cause the market to crash.
It's not necessarily going to cause it to crash unless it's handled in an incompetent way, which is what he's doing. He's handling it in an incompetent way.
Yeah.
But the idea that the market has to continue to go up at all costs, the idea that all nominal GDP growth is good, the idea that skills bleeding out of natural American population is not a problem.
I think
All of those things I disagree with.
Self-inflicted negative GDP growth is dumb. We should not do that.
Why?
Because we could just leave it alone. He's paying money for us to
Leave
lose
what alone?
more
We
money.
can just leave what alone? We can just leave what alone?
We could leave we could give them a pathway to citizenship or just leave them alone. If you've been here for 30 years and you have like generations of family that have been born here, and you haven't committed any crimes, you're just like a memo at home.
So if you
why
have
are we
generations of
deporting
family
them?
who were born, if you have generations of family who were born here, you're a citizen, by the way.
No, you're not.
Yes, you are. It's called birthright citizenship, and it's written into the 14th
No, your
Amendment.
children are, not you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just said if you have generations of family here. Oh, you mean like generations of progeny here?
Yeah, like if you're a grandma and you have your son and your grandchildren are citizens, and you're just sitting there, you're just a grandma. Why are we deporting her? What are we doing?
Once again, because this administration is wildly reactionary as a response to the complete ignoring of widespread malcontent with immigration across the Western world
That's
for like
what I'm
30, 40
illustrating
years.
to. I feel like you just agree with me on everything, just there. Yeah,
No,
he's misrepresenting the impact of immigration that it has on our economy, which you probably can't even spell out. You can't even tell me one negative impact trait, can you?
What did I just do? What did I just do for like 5 minutes?
Tell me, reiterate it.
Reiterate what the negative impacts of immigration?
Yeah.
It introduces greater strain on social services. Fact.
That's not true.
That is a fact. You literally said it yourself earlier when we were talking about the UK. You admitted that the fact that they have an NHS means that they have a social service that is more vulnerable to changes in service requirements, and that immigration is driving up their housing prices too.
That's not either. That's not happening either.
So, what do you mean it's not happening?
It's not
either?
happening because
like I said.
Because
The left-wing party of the United Kingdom just came out and admitted that immigration is not helping their economy. They just came out and said it, like within the last 3 weeks. You said that Keir Starmer is a fascist.
No, you just asked me if he was. I said maybe.
Okay, that's like me saying Bernie Sanders is a fascist.
Okay, well, believe me, there's plenty of people in chat who say fascism is left-leaning, and I'm not that crazy. But this is what I'm saying, is you're just pointing to a doubt. Like, you're just saying, well, it could be happening. But what I would say is hurting the housing market are things like Trump undoing the protections that were put in place to stop the '08 housing market crash, like the Dodd-Frank Act. That was the thing that Obama passed. That's to say no more bullshit with subprime lending. And guess what? Trump is trying to undo that. He made revisions. The first thing that he did when he was president last time was made revisions to the Dodd-Frank Act. He also wrote executive orders deregulating the housing market so that since Trump has been president the first time, single-family homes have gone from a 10% to 20% representation in investors. Investors have gone from 10% to 20% of the market in single-family homes. Trump has opened up the floodgates for them to fucking buy all that shit. And you're going to point to the 1% of our population and say that's them doing that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So-
And you're also going to say that these migrants who can't pull anything from Social Security, who paid $97 billion into Social Security last year and the year before that, and the year before that, they're adding a strain to social services? False.
Well, I mean, if you're just going to sit here and say false to everything I say, then yeah, I suppose I got wrecked. But like, here's the thing, right? You're going to sit here and you're going to pull up these numbers. You're going to say they had 97 billion to the economy, okay? And you're also going to sit here and say
In
that
taxes,
nominal
not the
GDP
economy.
No. What?
In taxes, not the economy. They add way more to the economy.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, you're going to sit here and be like, oh, nominal GDP growth is good. These people drive nominal GDP growth. But then, like, the depression of wages doesn't, like, suppress, like, nominal GDP growth. When wages are suppressed, when skills flow out of the United States to these other countries, these countries that these people come from, and these countries that these people sometimes go back to in fairly large numbers. There are more people expatriating to Mexico than there are immigrating from Mexico. The vast majority of South American immigrants are coming from south of Mexico. So like a large number of like Mexican immigrants are taking the skills that they honed in the United States back home. And that's disregarding the amount of like actual income that they remitted over the last 30 years. Like I said, I'm not making a moral judgment on these people. I am stating a fact that the unchecked immigration to this country has absolutely bled skills from this country, and it is absolutely bled.
Again, you're trying to say that 1% of our population, aka the non-citizens, the migrants, came here and have a downward pull on, mind you, the lowest part of our wages. They have a downward pull on the lowest end of our wages, and then you're going to say that's also skilled labor, which is not true. And then you're going to say that Trump isn't for bringing in H-1B1 visas, which are people with like actual engineering degrees, and coming and bringing those people in and fucking up wages. That's what's fucking up our wages, not the fucking migrants coming across the border.
I did one the notion that like low paid labor is automatically low skilled labor, or even like the notion of low skilled labor I don't agree with. Like the idea that because somebody uses a triangle and a plumb instead of fucking Excel means that they're low skill is fucking offensive in the extreme. Secondly, the idea that like I automatically have to be in favor of H-1B visas, I'm not, by the way. It's one of the other reasons I fucking.
But for you to
detest
say that
Elon
these are the
Musk
motives
and
of the
Ramaswamy.
right, it is not true, right? Because that's what they're doing.
What?
For you to say this is the motives for the motivation for deportations is because they have a downward pull on skilled labor. It's not true. And I considered skilled labor something that you have to go to a trade school or something you have to go to college for. Otherwise, yes, it is just unskilled labor.
No, you don't. In the United States, you have to do that because these skills are not taught organically anymore. The communities of people coming here do learn these skills organically. That is part of my point. They do these jobs and they do them in their communities and they bring these skills back into their homes and they are doing jobs that are now not available to, no, they are doing jobs
those are people that make a
not
lot more
available
money
to
than
Americans
lower wages.
because they are here. Because they are here. You cannot be on the same side of the aisle that regularly points to the fact that, oh, if these people are gone, who will do these jobs that we don't want to do because they're paid like a fucking poverty wage, and then turn around and say that it doesn't depress wages.
No, they don't. So you first of all, there's just an ongoing like stereotype that non-citizens get paid close to nothing. And I used to own a construction business, and I did millions of dollars of revenue each year. And I've never paid a migrant worker in construction in Texas less than way over minimum wage. Maybe less. I've never paid someone less than like $20 or $30 an hour, to be honest.
Well, that's good. Good for you.
I'm not saying I'm this great person. I'm just saying you're like widely, you're just stereotyping people that if you're working here and you're doing some sort of what you call skilled labor, that you're making poverty wages, and that's bullshit. You're not. You're making tons of money, dude.
Oh, I'm just randomly stereotyping because your experience with this is valid and legitimate, and my experience in literally dozens of back ends in restaurants, in like
that's
clinics,
unskilled.
in fucking at farms, in farm labor.
Yeah, if you're picking fruit, unskilled.
Okay, cool. You can say that, but guess what? Ranchers, like ranch hands and fucking roughnecks, aren't unskilled. Like people in fucking Montana that fucking brand bulls and snip their nuts are not fucking unskilled.
I promise you, they're not making less than minimum wage. Do you think they're making less than minimum wage?
It doesn't matter if they're making less
Yes,
than
it
minimum
does.
wage. What
Yes, it
matters is
does.
that what matters is that they're making less than people who would be making if they were born here and multi-generation Americans.
Now, if
That's
you
what
if
matters.
you if you're going to be calling anything slave wages and they're more than minimum wage, I would say stop voting to the right, because people on the left are the only ones that are pushing for minimum wage to go up. And if you think that has a downward pull on wages, then you need to vote that out of existence.
So what was that? What was that like rhetorical sleight of hand that you just did? You said on the one hand they're not slave wages, but also even if they are, you should just vote Democrat about it. Like, what was that?
You should.
Like,
If you
like,
if you have
could you argue in
disagreements,
good faith? No, could you argue in good faith? Because did you not just say two mutually contradictory statements?
No.
Solely in the interest of rhetoric.
no. I know. I'm saying that if
Oh,
you
you did.
truly,
Okay.
if you genuinely care about the downward pull on wages and for people to not work quote unquote slave wages, then you would vote left, because we are the only ones pushing away from that in every instance.
Okay, why does that mean that I have to vote left on a single issue? Like, once again, like why does this one single issue mean that I have to vote left?
I'm just saying that no one should be able to preach to anyone on the left about the working conditions or labor rights. Period. Point blank. Period. Period. Period.
Oh, okay, because the left has done so much.
They're the only ones who do anything. Yeah.
Oh,
about
really?
that?
So like when the left last had Congress, they definitely repealed Taft-Hartley, right? They definitely
I don't even know what
amended
that is.
Taft-Hartley for sure. Taft-Hartley, it's the thing that dismantled worker protections in the United States, that doesn't allow union shops, like exclusively union shops. It's also the thing that doesn't allow sectoral bargaining or general strikes. Taft-Hartley.
And-
So
okay,
yeah, like with like
Taft-Hartley?
Taft-Hartley.
Taft-Hartley Act repealed. Is that even here?
What?
Is that in the U.S.?
Yes.
Oh, Taft-Hartley, so known as
Yeah.
Labor Management Relations Act, has not been repealed.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. I was being facetious when I said, "Oh yeah, the left has actually done." Like, once again, like you can't claim, "Oh well, you should vote left," when both sides of the establishment regularly disregard the mandate that they're given on election.
Wait. Because of an inaction is what you're saying? You're pointing to the left as bad people?
I didn't. When did I say bad people? Once again,
Okay,
why
bad
no,
for
why are you
labor
adding
rights.
more?
Bad for labor rights.
Yes, absolutely. They're two sides of the same coin.
Okay, tell me an
100%.
action the right has done for labor rights. Go ahead.
Sorry, what?
Tell me an action that the right took for the interest of labor rights. Go ahead.
I mean, once again, like I didn't say I
That's
agree
what I
with
thought.
the
All right.
like Republican establishment. I didn't
Right.
say I agree with the Republican establishment. I've never said that.
Checkmate.
Checkmate. What do you mean? I've never said I agree with the Republican establishment. I'm pretty sure I've called out both sides of the establishment politicians regularly throughout this conversation. Have you heard
Post-
me advocate for the Republican Party or to vote red a single time?
No,
said I'm
but
conservative.
I heard you get fairly upset about me saying vote left.
Yeah, because the idea that like on this one single issue, you guys are less egregious. That means that I should just fall in line. Like this idea
I'm
that
saying
like,
if you're the bottom 80% of the economy, it's a fucking absolute no-brainer you vote left.
absolute no-brainer to vote left.
Yes.
Even though like I've made it pretty clear, I think immigration absolutely does damage to the endemic labor market. Like you can disagree with that, and I feel like you kind of dismissed all of my arguments offhand, which I'm not interested in continuing to engage in that. But I mean, if you disagree with that, cool. But like when one of my hard sticking points is that mass immigration has absolutely damaged the American labor market, and this is the
With
continuation
the
and
whole like
expansion of immigration is a
1.5%
policy.
of the population?
Huh?
The whole 1.5% of the population that is the illegal immigrant, that's damaging the labor market?
Once again, like I said, immigration in general has been voted for to be decreased every single time, every single election, and you still never addressed it. All you did was dismiss me earlier when I was like, every single Western democracy has voted to decrease immigration,
I'm
not
saying
decrease the rate of immigration.
It's
decrease
powerful
immigration.
propaganda. Yes, nativism is extremely powerful propaganda.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. These poor buffoons that constitute a majority of multiple nations,
Yes.
nations with wildly different political bases,
Yes.
nations like France with strong labor protections, nations like the UK with a strong labor party, nations like Germany, all of these people who have continuously run the entire gamut of the political spectrum, who've been
Yes.
voting for generations to reduce immigration, are just rubes, because the
Yes.
democracy doesn't matter. What matters is our democracy, right?
Yes,
The
yes.
institutional democracy.
The appeal to
the actual number
the
of
appeal to
votes
popularity,
don't
yes,
matter.
is silly, yes.
But it's not
Did you know?
narrow
Hey,
popularity.
excuse
It's not
me.
like
All right,
51.
my turn. My
It's not
turn.
51
Did you know?
49.
Did you know that at one point in history that the majority of the world would have voted in favor of child marriage or slavery? Does that make it right?
Would they have? Would
Yeah.
they have?
Yeah, they would have.
Really? That's
Yeah.
interesting. Because as far as I know, abolitionism has been around literally as long as slavery has.
Yeah, we've kept it
Even
alive
people
longer.
who were
But
what?
yes, yes. In fact, there are still states in the U.S. that still advocate for child marriage.
Yeah, but they're not a majority of the population. Like,
Yeah, well, maybe 50
no,
years
no,
ago
no.
they were, right?
50, you think 50 years ago, a majority of the population was in favor of child marriage?
Yep.
Like, even the period that people love to point to.
Dude,
like,
my-
let's like no,
yes,
no. Even the
people,
period that
I bet
people love to
people in
point to,
chat
like the
right
Dark
now
Ages,
have
right?
grandparents whose grandpa was like 30 and their grandma was like fucking 14 when they met.
Yeah, like sharecroppers in fucking Arkansas.
Conservatives?
Like, conservatives. I'm not a sharecropper from Arkansas. I am a blue-blooded Yankee and always have been. Like I'm not allowed to be conservative because there are inbreds in the South. Fucking news at 11. Southerners
I know
are
you're
like,
appealing
can
to
be inbred.
populism, and you're also trying to get away with the fact that, yes, the whole world thought it was a great idea to marry 12-year-olds at one point. I promise you.
The
If you're going to
whole
try to tell me
world?
that's
No,
not
they
true,
didn't.
the whole world did. Yes.
When?
I would say just roll back 300 years. 300 years to be safe.
300 years? You mean 300 years when the vast majority of the vast majority of the population who constituted like the serfdom or the yeomanship in most of the countries that we would be talking about that kept records had an age difference of on average 2 to 3 years between partners?
I would love to
that's the
see. I would
majority
love to see the facts on that. But they all thought it was acceptable, right?
No, they thought it was something that rich people did because that's who
It was highly
sector of
coveted?
society. What?
So it was highly coveted.
No, it wasn't highly coveted. Do you covet the things that rich people do now? Do you covet everything? Yeah, you might
Everybody
be like,
looks up to the thing that rich people do. Surely, yeah. For the
no,
most- for the
everybody
most
looks
part.
up to the things that rich people. No, everybody looks up to the things that rich people have. Most people don't look up to the things that rich people do.
Okay, well, if rich people had 12-year-old wives, that's probably what they looked up to back then.
I mean, like probably, right? Like when you think you have the high ground, so you're Mr. Citation. But then suddenly, when I'm like putting forth actual historical consensus that you can check on like any forum for a historical discussion, so then suddenly, well, probably.
Many long-term negative consequences, child marriage, common in the past, persist today.
That sounded like Google AI. Was that Gemini?
It's Colorado Public Radio. This is from a historian named Nicholas Syret.
Spell that, please.
Nicholas Syret. It's from a book, American Child Bride, A History of Minors and Marriage in the United States.
Except it literally says in the assessment, like the summary of the book, that he challenges this assumption, right? Like he's challenging consensus in this. So yeah, you're going to find a lot of things that are going to argue in the contrary. I will find you a source that doesn't say that, but what's going to happen is you're going to be like, well, probably, like you're going to well probably in me again. Hold on.
Honestly, what I'm pointing to is your fallacy of saying, well, the whole world has been duped by this way of electing people, and their I don't know, their what's it called? Their appeal to nativism. That's what I'm saying. And I'm saying that's not a good standard for you to decide whether or not something is good, bad, right, or wrong, or that it's true.
But what you're saying is that regardless of the number of people and the length of time that people want this policy, if you on ideological grounds, you and your institutions on ideological grounds disagree with that, then the policy is illegitimate and it's not real democracy.
I'm not. Never once did I say it's not real democracy. What I'm saying is democracy has given us some really bad leaders and some really bad laws because people have been duped by nativism shit.
Oh, so wait, are we defending our democracy or not? Is the goal to defend American democracy, or is it not to defend American democracy?
I feel like this is a goalpost shift. I don't think our conversation was about defending democracy. Although I am hugely in favor of democracy, I don't think you're going to be able to move this conversation in that direction.
You're hugely in favor of democracy, except when you disagree with the outcome.
No, I agree that we shouldn't change democracy. I think that people should stop buying into this whole let's deport people thing because it's bullshit. It's widely bullshit.
Anyway, other things I disagree with. The right on. Because I'm going to leave it, not because I changed any of my opinions, but because I feel like this is going nowhere. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that fair? Like, is that reasonable, or do you want to stay? Do you want to
Sure.
hover on this?
Sure.
Okay. The implementation was absolutely atrocious. Like blanket tariffing, like our allies, was brain dead, absolutely brain dead, and then like teasing tariffs and then backing off was also absolutely brain dead. But 100%, we should be hitting China with heavy fucking tariffs. Absolutely,
here's what's happening. Here's what's happening that most people don't see is that China and Japan have an actual metric fuck ton of U.S. cash bonds. Like 1.7 trillion, just the two of them put together. And if they were to just sell a handful of them at the same time, the entire economy would crash. The U.S. dollar would crash. The bonds market would crash. We would be absolutely
the global
fucked.
economy would crash.
Yeah.
Also,
And,
the Japanese can't offload their bonds. The Japanese literally can't offload their bonds.
well,
Like,
they
people
did to
wouldn't
the
eat.
tune of like 5% already.
Yeah, to the tune of 5%. They can't mass unload their bonds because there literally would be no food on their shelves. The Japanese are too deeply tied in, which is why they're putting so much effort into like slowly decoupling. But also, like, I never said that like Japan was a problem. I said we should absolutely be tariffing the fuck out of China, and I don't care how many plastic widgets we lose to do it. High-end manufacturing of various industries absolutely has to come back, and we absolutely
We're
have
not
to
going to do it with
decap China's.
tariffs. We're not going to do it with tariffs. High-end
Then how would we do
manufacturing
it?
is not going to come back with tariffs.
How does it come back then?
With subsidies.
With subsidies?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Do you know who did believe that high-end manufacturing relies on tariffs?
Who?
Joseph Biden. Joe Biden did. Well, his people did at least.
They did it on both ends. They did subsidies.
Yeah. The CHIPS Act was actually based.
Yeah, and so
CHIPS
was the
Act was
Inflation
based.
Reduction Act.
No.
And so was
absolutely
the
not. Inflation
Infrastructure
Reduction
Bill.
Act was. Sorry, what?
And so was the Infrastructure Bill.
The Infrastructure Bill and the Inflation Reduction Act were both pork city. Literally pork city.
I don't think you could substantiate how the Inflation Reduction Act was pork city.
The Inflation Reduction Act wasn't pork city. Okay,
No.
Quick question. What were the appropriations for quote unquote, if we were to take together all of the green energy initiatives in the Inflation Reduction Act, what like amount of the appropriations would that be? I bet you
Like,
it's
what's
in
the dollar
excess of-
amount?
I bet you it's in excess of 5 to 10% of the bill. In
It
terms of
doesn't.
gross
It
funds
doesn't
appropriated-
matter. It doesn't matter how much. Are you going to say it was a waste of money or?
Yeah, I'm saying calling something an Inflation Reduction Act and then cramming it chock full of pork for your green energy buddies is absolutely not good. Not a good bill. That's not good policy.
It paid
I'm
for
opposed
itself.
to pork in general.
It made us money.
Oh, it made us money. Of course
Yeah.
it did. Of course it did.
It did. It
Making-
netted positive $258 billion.
Yeah. Making nominal gains is the most important thing, of course.
It's not the most important thing, but
but-
it literally did. If you can call it full of pork, I want more of that fucking pork.
Well, I mean, of course, why not? Why not? Just make every as long as every bill is an omnibus bill that's chock full of pork, our democracy is functioning, right?
I mean, I don't know. If that's like, I wait till you see the big beautiful bill, man. Whew.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I said like 3 times it's disgusting.
Yeah, dude. So I think higher, like investing in the IRS. I think that for every dollar, first of all, that we invest in the IRS, we get $5 to $9 back. That was great. I think that investing in renewable energy is great. We need to industrialize it and try to keep up with China so that we're not stuck buying EVs and batteries from them in the future, and we can sell these things to the rest of the world. I don't think we're going to be able to sell plastic widgets. I don't think we're going to be able to outdo China. We need to be very specific on what we need to industrialize and what we need to subsidize. I think that Biden made the right decisions on doing that with microchips and bioengineering and all of those things. I think those are just fine. And for you to, I guess, scrutinize the amount that was put in there is not that big of a deal to me as to like how we paid for it, increasing minimum tax on corporations over $400,000. I think it was great. I think everything that in that bill was great.
How much money goes into it does matter. It's like in California, where how many tens of billions of dollars vanished into thin fucking air into the pockets of committee members to build a high speed rail to nowhere. The amount of money that burned matters. Like the amount of money that gets dumped into windmill subsidies, when we know we have a working case study of Germany, which has not been able to become fossil fuel like net zero. After a 20-year campaign,
Windmills are net zero after 2 to 3 years of their life.
Sorry, what?
They're net carbon efficient after 3 years, most of them.
Are they right now? Germany is net zero carbon emissions right now.
Is Germany as a whole? I don't know. Is that what you're asking me?
Sorry, what did you say?
I said wind turbines are in 3 years are net carbon zero.
No, that's not what I said. I said that Germany, which has been pursuing this policy for like 10 to 15 years, still has not actually liberated themselves from fossil fuels. They buy natural gas by the metric ton, and anything that they can't fill with natural gas, they have to pipe over from French nuclear reactors.
That's fine. We have plenty of natural gas and stuff like that. I don't think anybody wants to move all the way away. Like we're eventually going to be always be using oil for like consumer products and all that stuff. That's fine. I'm saying
I would absolutely support 80 to 90% of the American grid being run by nuclear, geothermal, and hydroelectric.
Yeah, that's fine.
100%.
Yeah, of course. I don't think that we'll ever be 0% oil. I think that's stupid. I think that's a straw man.
Yeah, I don't disagree. But saying that like, oh, the Inflation Reduction Act was good because renewable energy is good. Renewable energy, as it's proposed, right? Because like hydroelectric is renewable, right? Like geothermal is renewable. But when these bills
I know, but we need to industrialize. We need to subsidize it. And if people just want to keep going to Japan because that's what the market tells you to do, go to Japan if you want to get your solar panels or your wind turbines. We're just going to have China or South Korea. We're going to industrialize the fuck out of China and South Korea before we do it ourselves here. We need to do it ourselves. And I think subsidizing the way to do it, not just putting tariffs up. Tariffs are just going to make business painful. What we need to do is be able to make it so cheap that we can offer to the rest of the world, and that can only be done through subsidies.
We don't need to subsidize windmills though. When we could just build nuclear power plants, build geothermal plants, and like build and even that. Like I like hydroelectric, but hydroelectric has real environmental concerns. If we were to supplement a large number of like small modular nuclear reactors, or even currently like proven nuclear models, along with thermal like geothermal, we could reduce the number of hydroelectric dams and like return some of these these waterways to their natural state. We could actually do that with basically exclusively nuclear and geothermal as a way to handle baseload energy. Windmills and solar panels do not lend inertia to the grid system. They are not reliable. They do not fill baseload on a reliable, consistent basis.
As of right now. But if we industrial, like, you know how far we've come in just the last 10 years.
They can't until battery technology improves. Subsidies.
And that's also in the Inflation Reduction Act.
Is it really? Really? Expansion of Department of Energy's national labs, which is doing most of the legwork, is in the Inflation Reduction Act. The Inflation Reduction Act has a bunch of
No,
appropriations
I'm
for
talking
like
about
fucking Oak Ridge.
batteries. Is manufacturing of
Yeah,
batteries.
yeah, like Oak Ridge, which is doing a significant proportion, or like Oak Ridge, like Los Alamos. The national lab is doing a significant amount of work on material science, like this like condensed matter semiconductor like research and this battery research. There's a bunch of appropriations for that in there, or is there a bunch of appropriations for
You're
green
showing
startups?
me. I'm not saying that those things are in here. I'm saying this map right here that I have on the screen is all of the battery and EV manufacturing facilities that were fueled by it and the Chips and Science Act. 449
Okay, and
billion.
what are they?
184
What
billion.
are
I'm
they?
sorry. They're peppered all over the map. One in Louisiana, 232 million for ICL. It's a company called ICL. We have a few in Texas. Canoe, 40727. Oklahoma, I'm sorry, $320 million. 700 jobs. Oklahoma, $100 million, 100 jobs. Location, Stillwater, Oklahoma. USA Rare Earths is what it's called. We have one in Arizona, LG Energy Solutions, $5.6 billion. Jobs
So-
announced, 1,500.
They're all small cap tech startups. Yeah,
This one doesn't look too small. 5.6 billion.
that's pretty small. That's small cap. Absolutely, that's small cap.
My girlfriend works for a startup. $5.6 billion would give her like 30 years of runway.
Yeah, that doesn't make it not small cap.
1,500
I might be
jobs?
wrong on like the technical. I might be wrong on the technical band. Hold on, let me see. But that's pretty small, and like in the grand scheme of things, that's pretty small.
When there's a billion next to it?
Yeah, Glencore, which actually mines the shit that we're talking about, not processes it, mines the shit that we're talking about. Does like what? Like 190
LG,
billion
dude.
in fucking revenue?
LG Energy Solutions. Is it the same LG? It is. It's LG, dude.
It is just outside small cap. Small cap ends at 2 billion, not 6 billion. My apologies. So I was wrong there.
Okay.
I still think that's like not that big, and I still think that national labs are
It's
way
one of
more
many.
important
This
for this research.
map looks like it has fucking herpes, dude. For you to just be like scrutinizing one of them is silly. There's $184 billion that goes straight to EVs and batteries.
Okay, and what percent? Like, how much was the total like appropriations for the bill?
$1 trillion.
Okay, so you said what?
180
billion total. So
18%.
yeah, 18%. Is it a trillion? Is it a trillion like almost on the nose?
It just says 1 trillion so far in commitments. Actually, that's how many people have invested. Actually, I think it was less than $1 trillion. The Chips and Science Act wasn't it like 1.2?
Yeah, I'm wondering how much of that is that specifically for the map specifically for the Inflation Reduction Act, or is it for the last administration in general?
No, that's just specifically for the two bills, not the whole administration.
Yeah. So it's the Inflation Reduction Act and the CHIPS Act.
Yeah.
Hold on. I have to be really specific with Google because Gemini is fucking awesome and definitely not a fucking hindrance. Okay, so it looks like just north of $1 trillion. It's appropriations. It's federal appropriations, so it's kind of weird. But also like I don't like that they called it the Inflation Reduction Act either, because guess what? A whole glut of new money and fresh spending does. It doesn't reduce inflation. It drives growth. It is a growth driver. Growth drives inflation. Because growth
in some instances, getting people to invest and getting people back to work does also reduce inflation in some instances. In most instances, it increases inflation. In some instances, it doesn't. But every month after it was introduced, every single month it was, after it was introduced, it was reduced. It reduced inflation.
Did it? Did it reduce it? So did it reduce the rate of inflation, or did it reduce inflation? Because
Reduce the
inflation is
rate of
cheaper.
inflation. Deflation is bad. We never want to pass a bill that does deflation.
The deflation is bad. Okay, quick question: when does deflation not become bad? Like when I have to when I have to have like nominally $1 million to buy bread, and we just have to change the way that the dollar system is denominated. That's still bad.
Well,
Like we
if
can never
inflation
do
goes up,
deflation.
if your income would go up at the same time, I'm assuming cost of living would go up at the same time. If you were just going to point at one item, then yes, deflation of bread would be great.
Have wages tracked inflation?
Absolutely
Have
not.
real wages tracked inflation?
At the last year of Biden's presidency, wages did outpace inflation.
No, have wages have wages even not outpaced, even tracked inflation over the period of like the last 30 years?
It has not. No.
Okay, so saying that like your wages will rise commensurate with inflation is not correct, right? Like that it can do that.
At some
but it
points in
doesn't
time, they can
necessarily
outpace
do
it,
that.
but no, it's never going to catch up unless we do some serious communist stuff.
Or we could just, I don't know, like get spending under control.
Well, you would not vote Republicans if you're trying to do that.
No, I don't vote Republicans anymore. I haven't voted for Republicans since 2016. I haven't voted higher than a local election since 2016. But like the idea that the left has the answers, and that it's the only real problem is that like Trump is a big meanie and that the left is ontologically correct about everything, I disagree with. That's what I was getting. That's what I've been getting at this whole time.
I would definitely say that Trump's character isn't even 1/100th of my conversations that I have on this platform. Trump's character is the last thing that I'll point to. I can literally just point to his economic policies, which are almost non-existent. They're just from the cuff. And just his domestic and foreign affairs, the way he's a horrible diplomat, the way that he is close to fucking up our economy, the way that he can receive $400 million planes from Qatar. I think it's
gross.
very
obvious.
That's
gross. That's gross. Like that's gross. But the idea that because he is gross, I have to suddenly vote for people that are wedded to the idea that like defense spending needs to be slashed to absurdly low levels. The idea that like I need to be wedded to government by committee across a wide range of public spending projects.
There's
like,
no Democrat running for cutting defense budget like that.
Really, that is not a common talking point in the electorate.
You'd have to show me. You'd have to show me a presidential candidate that ran on cutting the defense budget.
I don't look at electoral promises. I don't know the last time somebody delivered on an electoral promise.
I don't know.
Like, hold on. Let me see. Because I don't want to leave.
Nobody would ever get elected if they promised to cut the defense budget. Nobody who would ever propose that would ever get elected. Even though it is fucking ridiculous, we can all agree quietly that it's bad.
I don't think that the cuts need to be as drastic as people like seem to think. I think $150 billion in cuts would be fine. The Department of Defense's like actual spending is one of the like best ROI in terms of like public spending. I would say it's probably like between DARPA and the Department of Defense, it's probably just behind like NASA and the LPO in terms of like actual ROI.
Well, it used to be, but ever since Trump has made us an asshole on the world stage, we have people like NATO going around planning their defense budgets without buying things from the United States. So we're going to see a huge change here soon, I'm sure.
We'll see how long that lasts. So we'll see how many more Raphaels have to get shot down before people come back to us. Yeah. Like we can't like the idea and like another big thing, like a big point of like the Democratic policy platform is that we can tax our way out of the hole we're in. We cannot tax our way out of the hole we're in.
We absolutely can. Actually, we have the math that shows if we were to just close loopholes and if the billionaires paid their fair share, we would literally be out of this hole immediately. In fact, Social Security would be entirely solvent if we took the cap off of the maximum people paid in Social Security based on how much they made.
The Congressional Budget Office disagrees. Hold on, let me find it. Where's it? How do we reduce it? But yeah, no, the Congressional Budget Office does not agree that we can tax our way out of it.
Are you talking about the debt?
Well, the deficit primarily, but yes, the debt eventually.
Kamala's
I'm
deficit,
not saying we should.
Kamala's
What?
plan would have reduced our deficit down to 150 billion. Trump's exploding it to over 600.
Of course, it would have reduced it down to 100. Like what? How much? How many billions? 150, you said? Of course it would have. Of course it would have. And no politician has ever lied. No new tax. Read my lips. No new taxes.
This is from Penn Wharton, one of the most prestigious economic colleges on planet Earth. Not Kamala.
But yeah, she would have remained on that path, right? She would have 100% remained on that path, because she would have been the first American politician in what Bill Clinton left office in 98, 2000.
We only
like
get to
99.
rewrite the tax policy every 8 years, so I don't think it's as big of a deal as you're saying.
Sorry, what?
I don't think it's as big of a rare thing as you're saying, considering we can only rewrite the tax bill every 8 years.
Says who? Like no current Congress is actually bound by the decisions of a previous Congress by anything other than inertia.
I don't know what that means, but I think that her plan written
Like,
down, I have more faith in that than
no-
Trump exploding the absolute fuck out of our deficit by $4.5 trillion again.
Once again,
Fine.
yeah. Once again, the expansion of the deficit is fucking brain dead. But the problem is that without severe cuts to overall spending, we cannot get the deficit under control.
Well,
You could
there's
take
the only
every
place there's room to cut spending is probably the
Medicare,
military
Social
budget.
Security, defense, Medicare, Social Security.
Medicare and Social Security are self-funded. There's no cutting there.
Social Security drives inflation. The funding of Social Security drives inflation.
Why do you say
Absolutely,
that?
you can cut it. How is Social Security funded? It is funded. How is it
It's
funded?
self-funded. It's paid by taxes.
Yeah, how?
We pay it
No,
through
because
an income tax. It goes into Social Security. It goes into a pot, and then it
Yes.
it pays out.
And then
the very
it
top
lends
of
that money,
it pays
and
out
it-
to the 1% who pull from it.
The pool of money is converted into fungible bonds. Yes.
That would be news to me.
Social Security investments. Here we go. Here we go. Social Security trust funds are invested solely in U.S. Treasury securities.
Okay.
Okay, so what happens is the pool of money in Social Security is invested into bonds. These bonds are then sold for a theoretical profit. They're sold to the people who buy securities, mostly institutional banks and foreign governments, yes?
Okay.
The sale of bonds increases nominal debt. In order to keep up with this nominal debt, the United States essentially prints money. The sale of bonds, the sale of treasury bonds, results in an expansion of the money supply. An expansion of the money supply, if you do not very carefully manage the velocity of money, drives inflation. When Social Security sells bonds to cover the nominal debt required to pay out Social Security entitlements, which they can't do because they have to keep dropping it to keep it solvent. Like Social Security entitlements haven't kept up with inflation since I think 2005.
And that has a lot to do with this thing called population decline, which is in large helped by migration. Migrants who paid $97 billion to Social Security last year.
Or we could just create policies that actually grow families.
Well,
just grow actual families.
I don't know, they call that socialism on the right.
I mean, no, I disagree. I can give you the exact opposite of a socialist. I can give you someone who you would argue is probably a fascist that does that as well.
Well, I would call them a hypocrite.
Viktor Orban, I don't think Viktor Orban is a hypocrite. He's many
I think
things.
Viktor
He's
Orban is an authoritarian who's probably struggling to have people there working to fuel his government.
Yeah, but he's not. He's many things. I don't think he's a hypocrite when it comes to the expansion of the family unit in Hungary. So, like, saying that like automatically any pro-family policy is automatically like left wing is just not correct. In fact, most of the time that I see pro-family policy come, unless it's paid leave, every other example I see of pro-family policy gets called like nativist or racist whenever it pops up in any like
Kamala was
European
trying to
nation.
increase the child tax credit to $6,000.
$6,000 doesn't even remotely come close.
It's way more than
Doesn't even
1,000.
remotely. Like none of these things. My point is none of these things come close. Like none of these are actually willing to sacrifice economic growth in the name of family formation.
Okay, Hillary
Not
Clinton
one of these.
proposed a $5,000 nest egg in the same sense, like an
Once
investment to
again,
a child.
when it costs like $40,000 to have a child, $5,000 doesn't even cover your meals at the hospital.
Okay, again, the left is the one trying to change that too.
Are they?
Yeah,
they?
we want universal health care. We want Medicaid for all.
And in countries with single payer, those countries are experiencing growth in their native born population. But like countries with single payer are notorious for growing birth rates.
No, I wouldn't say that. But if you want something that's not antithetical to like or a slap in the face compared to what it costs to have a child, we would do that. I think that we can't even figure out what it is that makes people want to reproduce, and money is not going to do it either.
Money definitely doesn't do it.
We have all sorts of data that show that giving people money, pulling them out of. In fact, more people have kids during poverty.
Yeah, it doesn't nudge it because like forming families is ultimately a thing that communities do in order to become resilient because it is the natural state of affairs.
Yeah. So I think this is a grievance that's neither here nor there. I think it's a nothing burger.
No, what I'm saying is any policy that would actually increase family formation would hurt the economy. And once again, like this idea that like the left are the people who are going to do this. No, they're not. The left is not going to sacrifice economic growth.
The only people who will ever do universal health care. The left is the only people who advocate for family unit like funding.
But they don't support policies that actually create family formation. Like none of these policies actually drive family formation.
We just agreed that there is no policy that does that.
There are policies that do that do harm the economy. Absolutely, there are.
I don't think there is. Name one.
For example, Muammar Gaddafi. Muammar Gaddafi is actually a really good example of this because it worked. Muammar Gaddafi ensured that new families would get houses on the low. I'm pretty sure they also got cars on the low. And their energy bills, when they had children, were completely like comped. I'm pretty sure because I'm pretty sure the oil industry was nationalized in Libya, and so was the canal. He did these things, and this wasn't money handed out to people. This was you have children. When you have children and you stay home and raise your children, this is what gives you benefits. That's not what we do. We give people money to have a kid, then shuttle that kid off the first preschool, which costs them $10,000 a year, or $15,000 or $25,000 a fucking year, and then send them to public school so they can both continue to go grind. The idea that paid maternity leave grants any moral standing to motherhood, when we can look at Mongolia, and Mongolia actually explicitly prizes motherhood.
Feasible thing. I don't know, like pragmatic things, like things we would actually come to on a vote, not things like winning the lottery if you shit out a kid.
It's not winning the lottery if you shit out a kid. Like I said, Mongolia has pursued policies that actually elevate the social status of mothers. This is a policy that would negatively impact economic growth in the United States. The left in the United States will absolutely never sacrifice economic growth
either one. The right
in favor of
the
family
right's
formation.
even further from giving people free houses for having kids.
Yeah, once again, Like you keep going to this point of, if I believe this, I should vote left. I'm explaining why that doesn't necessarily mean that I should vote left. And there are people on the right. There are people on the right that do believe in these policies, right? But if we just say, oh, everything that I agree with is leftist and everything I disagree with isn't pragmatic, like, then yeah, of course we're left with no solution.
We are in a two-party system, but yes, the right is in some like, I have some serious problems with the right now, and the only thing that we can point to on the left is that, like, they haven't done enough or something. I don't get what your point is.
No, there are numerous things to point to on the left. What are you talking about? Like the idea that Ezra Klein said this on his interview with Jon Stewart. The conclusion he reached after the high-speed internet program just took $40 billion and then fucking poof up in smoke. The conclusion that Ezra Klein reached was that the left's real problem is they're just too nice. They just care too much. Their hearts are just too big. That's the only thing wrong with the left. As the left continuously sends programs to committee to fucking die, as they evaporate fucking billions of dollars into the pockets of like myriad apparatchiks in like public offices or like institutional or NGO offices, and that's not bad. What? Because it's not malicious, because there isn't a guy with a gun. Like, the idea that that's not a problem is offensive.
I think the more that we can push the ice caps off of the fucking mountains of wealth that we have in this country, and the more that even if it does nothing and it just dissolves into the hands of thousands and hundreds of thousands of people, I'm for it.
Except that $40 billion, wasn't just, oh, I'm Robin Hood, I'm taking from the rich to give to the poor. Like, the top 1%, the top 10 to 1% is not like Elon Musk or like Jeff Bezos. Like, those are like the people who run construction businesses. Those are like doctors and high-performing lawyers. And if they are being robbed blind to pay a bunch of do-nothing apparatchiks to sit in committee and disappear money by the fucking boatload in the form of fucking daily wages and fucking white papers that go nowhere, that is still a failing. And it is not an accidental oopsie daisy. It is billions of dollars of public money disappeared into fucking nothing in order to stuff the pockets of people who turn around and go vote the party line. It is the same thing as when people. It is the same. No, it's the same thing.
40 billion really is nothing in the grand scheme of things. But real quick, Joshua, thank you so much for the $25 for the kick fund, guys. $15 more and I will kick this person. But it's $40 for a kick. I don't want to do a disservice to anybody who's paid the full $40 before. Joshua, thank you so much, though. W. Joshua's in the chat. I would say that Trump giving $180 billion back to the richest 1% every single year since the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act puts that, it makes it literally nothing. It's like saying someone kicked a puppy.
But it's not just one program. It's not just $40 billion. And like I said, once again, I don't agree with the vast majority of like the way that Trump has approached things. I don't agree with the fact that he's in bed with people like grifters like Elon Musk that don't know their asshole from a hole in the fucking ground. Okay? But the idea that, oh, it's only $40 billion. It's only $40 billion of public money is it's gross. It's absolutely gross. And the idea that's just an oopsie is not right. Like, that's not appealing to me as a voter.
I gotta kick you now. Thank you for the conversation. I've had you up for 75 minutes. I hope you have a good day. All right.
Yeah. Sorry to take up all your time, and I didn't mean to interrupt your super chat or whatever.
You're good. All right. W Infectious for the last $15. Infectious, literally no shade at all. That guy kind of talks like you. Just a little, not calling you what you fill a blank. I'm not calling you that. I'm just saying like his vernacular sounds like Infectious. Chat. You guys know what I'm talking about. He does. But I love you, Infectious. It's not a reflection of how much I love you. Right? It does. He sounded like Infectious. What gives him the right to say all that and skip voting? I know. When he said that, I was like, oh, you didn't vote. The fuck? Hoodlum, I don't know what you're smoking, bro. I literally, you're not wrong. Yeah, okay. First of all, if when people listen to these debates, and that guy sounded smart. He's probably smarter than me, but I don't think he won that debate. I'm 1000% honest when I say that too. I have a problem believing Hoodie has any friends. I've banned Hoodie from my other account. I'm letting him have a day. I'm letting him have a heyday here. Yellow, is this a Trump
Hello?
supporter? Hello?
I don't know if the call went through
Is this a Trump supporter?
or if I even got the right number.
Hello?
I'm gonna go back to YouTube and see if I did.
Try again. Sometimes being smart just means you can convince yourself to believe awful things. That is so true, dude. Yeah, Viktor Orban? Come on, dude. Viktor Orban, though? Viktor Orban is Trump's best friend. Prove me wrong. And Gaddafi. He brought up Gaddafi, dude. Trump isn't capable of friendship. It's true. It like give any meaningful friendship you see in the news or whatever on TV with Trump, he's gonna have a fallout with those people in any given month. I called it for Elon Musk. I said that it was gonna be November before they had a fallout. Dude, it's not even June. It's not even June. Netanyahu didn't even last, dude. That last guy likes Benson Boone. Oh no. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, sorry, I need to turn the thing back on. Try it again, try it again, try it again. Prove they had a fallout? Where's Musk at? Musk just made a tweet. Dude, I swear I just had a phone call with this person. Hello, is this a Trump supporter?
Yes, it is.
What do you like about Trump?
Personally, for me, it's I saw what was happening like 2 weeks ago. Like something I hadn't been voting much. Uh, wasn't really into politics. Saw something he said a few weeks ago. Don't know if it's true. I just heard that the uh unemployment rates were at an all-time low when he was president. Now I did some studying. Apparently that's true.
You haven't Googled that yet? Biden had
Uh,
the lowest unemployment rates in 50 years. 3.5 or 3.4%. They're not that low right now, especially after Trump just fired like a few 100,000 people from the government. There's no way.
Yeah, well, that could be true. Also, I live
4.2.
at where I live. There's just been a bunch of like illegal immigrants, especially during Biden's presidency, and a lot of violence near my area. There wasn't any during Trump's last presidency.
So the amount of illegal migrants in the United States has gone from 11.7 million to 13 million ish, and I would contend that no living person can just walk around and tell a difference between like 1.8 and 2% of our population being
Well,
illegal
to be
migrants. Are you pulling their paperwork out of their pockets?
no, but like ever since like during Biden's presidency, there's like near my like area specifically, terrorists. I haven't seen that in my whole lifetime.
We don't have any. When's the last time we had a terrorist attack?
I'm not saying terrorist attack. I'm just saying I know there's a group of terrorists nearby. Not only because
What makes them terrorists?
not only was there a shoot. So your actual definition of terrorist?
I know what a terrorist is. What makes you think people are terrorists?
I mean, well, if they're terrorists, well, not only have there been like a lot of like they've been shooting just random, like they're just going up. They're some people that like they said something wrong about them that they didn't like. They go up, they shoot them, they shoot people in the area.
Okay, hold
They
on.
leave, hit and run.
Last year there were 40,000 gun deaths. 29 of those, 29, like less than 30, were
Yes.
deaths caused by migrants, and that not all of them were done with pew pews. So I don't think you can tell that either.
I mean, like not all the guns, but like I've someone I know got stabbed by someone stabbed in the neck. Thankfully he's living. The person who stabbed him got arrested. An illegal migrant. So
Still
happened
only
about
20,
2 years ago.
29 deaths last year out of the 17,000 murders. 29 of them were undocumented migrants. Not even 1%, less than 0.001%. 0.0001.
Yeah, I'll agree on that. Like, not all of them, not most of them, but some of them, not a great amount. Only 29, like you said. Still not a great amount, but it's still some. Not it's like if you look back during Trump's presidency, I'm pretty sure that was none.
He was campaigning on people coming here and unaliving everybody already. So even if it was none, you guys thought there was a ton.
Well, yes, but like I said, there's more like even if there isn't even if there's only 29 deaths, there's a lot more injuries. Like
There's like 1,400 people injured. Assault.
1,400.
Yeah.
Well,
Out
sure,
of
but
350 million people.
well, is that documented? Like documented only 1,400.
Yeah.
What about the ones that weren't documented?
If you get hurt, you usually tell the police, right?
Well, usually, and then
So
I
you would have to
know
tell
a
me
lot of people
somehow
that
how
wouldn't.
you saw it in the news, and yet they weren't documented.
Well, I'm not saying that it has to be in the news for because if it's in the news, then it's obviously documented.
Yeah. So where are you seeing these people getting hurt?
I'm like around the city I live in, like around almost everywhere that I've
Hey,
seen.
I have it on the screen right here. Last year, 1,084 people were assaulted by a non-citizen.
Can you
1,084.
repeat? Okay. I'm trying to see some, so
That's out of 350
that was
million
last
people
that was
living here in
last
the
year.
United States. Last year, yeah.
I'm seeing here. I searched for some. It says back in 2023, around 78,000 were just assaulted, and a fifth of those were killed. Like they were assaulted later, they came back and killed them.
Those are U.S. citizens doing the assaults, though, right?
No, illegal immigrants.
What website is that?
Here it's here. Let me see. American Immigration Council. At least that's where I read it.
It's also a far right group.
Oh yeah. Far right group and far left group. I really don't understand. I really don't understand the differences between a lot of stuff and
Where do you see
like
that? You said
I
70
see
something.
far right groups. I see far right groups. All right, they're arguing these things. I look at far left groups. They're arguing a bunch of different political ideas, but they have a common ground where they meet, and then they still
Here-
try to disagree on it.
I'm thinking of something else actually. This website, American Immigration Council, says it says that there's no relation between migrants and crime. The Immigration Council compared crime data demographic from 1980 to 2022, the most recent data available. Okay, here we go. However, robust body of research that welcoming immigrants into American communities not only does not increase crime, but can actually strengthen public safety. Migrants are 1/3 less likely to commit violent crime and 1/4 less likely to commit property crime. So if we were to like double the population of the United States with all undocumented migrants, our crime rates would plummet to 1/3 or 1/4.
Well, that's based off of statistics, right?
Yeah, per capita.
Well, let's be honest. Those never stay this. Like sometimes they stay the same for a bit of time, but they never always stay the same. Sometimes, like not a lot of times they change dramatically.
Okay, let me ask you this. You have a country with 10 people and you have a country with 100 people. The country with 10 people had 1 person murdered, and the country with 100 people had 2 people murdered. Which country is safer?
Well, I would say probably the country with 100 people, because the country with 10 people, a tenth of the population got murdered, and country with 100, was that?
Yeah.
Point,
There you go.
2/10.
2%. Yeah, that's why we do per capita.
Okay. Like I also Trump during his first presidency, if I recall correctly, there's something about building the wall, right?
Yeah.
And then he did end up start building a wall. Then the end of his presidency came, and if I remember correctly, Joe Biden and Kamala had the building the building rate decreased a lot.
Jared super chatted $4.99. Yo Pickles, pretty sure this caller is a child. Ask him his ask.
What's your age?
I'm like 18, 19, so I don't vote.
You're 18 or 19?
Like 18, 19, like I'm about to turn 19. I sound way younger than I am.
What's your birthday?
Yeah, February 14th. I keep on forgetting the year. I'm not the best. I have a mental thing.
Oh, bro.
I just
Thank you for the super chat, dude. Come on, dude. Stop calling. Dude, do not call in if you're not over 18. Uh, was he using a voice changer? Like, if he was about to be 19, it wouldn't have been a date in February, right? How long was he up? He was up for quite a spell. He was up for quite a spell. Mm. Hello, is this a Trump supporter?
No, actually, I've been in your stream I actually just applied for moderation. I wanted to talk to you about something. I wanted to know your thoughts on this idea that I had about, and maybe a preventative, and just because from what I've seen, um, it feels cruel, at least, to just throw them out with no due process and no chance at naturalization. And so I wanted to know what your thoughts on this. And this is the thing, is that I believe that immigrants, illegal or not, if they're being sent back, they should have due process. They should have a right to trial, and I also believe they should have the option to have naturalization and that assisted naturalization, because from what I know, a lot of it, they don't really understand the process from. No, this is just how I see it. So I could be wrong, but they really don't understand the process of becoming a U.S. citizen. And so I feel like having that assistance for to be able to have naturalization and to be helped through that process. I don't know. I just wanted to know your thoughts, and that's pretty much it.
We've seen that people who have a lawyer assigned to them, they show up to 96% of their hearings for asylum. I think it's a good idea to maybe help them do that. I think the people that are already here and have established lives, we should give them an easy way to come forward and be like, hey, you've been paying taxes, you've been here for 10 years. Like, you know, there's no reason why we should just kick you out. Like, you haven't committed crimes, you don't have crimes in your home country. We should have something like that that would let people to naturalize. You're right. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. The big fear mongering is that they'll vote Democrat, that we're trying to get people to flood the United States to vote Democrat. I think it's stupid. But yeah, I usually don't take friendlies, so I'm gonna kick you soon. But thank you so much for coming up, and
Thank
we'll
you.
look at you. We'll look at your mod application for sure.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
You too. We just missed a phone call from someone else. Chat, if you're trying to debate, hop in the box. Come tell me why you like Trump. And we're almost at 150K. Tap the screenshot. Dog, this number, I've seen it before. Have I? Hello, is this a Trump supporter?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you like about Trump?
Let me see. Let me try to come up with a single thing. Kind of like how he's got in control of the border. Definitely like his kind of distancing, or his kind of shakeup of, his kind of foreign policy, I guess. Not everything I like about it, but there's quite a few things. I'd say his kind of distancing with Israel. I think that's something that's pretty good.
That's probably just because he wants to take a $400 million jet from the people that are funding Hamas, Israel's sworn enemy. But the border, this is what I would say on the border. Do you think that we should send people to jail for the rest of their lives without any due process for being here illegally?
Simply for being here illegally?
Yeah.
Not really, no.
Do you think we should send them to the worst jail on earth for doing that?
Just for coming here illegally?
Yeah.
No.
That's what Trump's doing, and that's why nobody's coming.
Well, I think I do think it's a little messed up. Sorry, let me speak a little better. I think you kind of have to take a hard stance on it. I don't agree that he's, just shoving random people or anyone off the street into a prison in El Salvador. I do like the fact that criminals are getting shoved there. The guys who, decided to do, that El Agua gang. I do like those. Yeah, Trey Agua. I do like the fact those guys are going there. MS-13.
I think we need to have court dates for these people to determine whether or not they're actually in this gang. And also, just for being in a gang, if you haven't committed any crimes, like if you just have a stupid tattoo on your neck and we think you're in that gang, still due process before we send you to jail for the rest of your life. Maybe deportation. Like, maybe that's fine, but not jail for the rest of your life. I think that's crazy. And the reason he can even do this is because he wrongfully said that these people are part of a terrorist group, which, if you actually know what a terrorist group is, being an MS-13 does not constitute being in a terrorist group. Just as much as, like, Bloods and Crips and everybody else here, they're not terrorists either.
Well, I mean, considering what they do back in their home countries, I mean, like, if you look at Central America murdering politicians, I do think that's, kind of terror. It's something that's similar to what a terrorist group would do, the intimidation of politicians. I mean, terrorism is basically, using violence in order to,
to instill political or ideological differonces.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
they're not doing that here, though, right? So, like,
they can't.
Like,
I wouldn't be surprised if they were giving money or something like that.
Like, we have domestic terrorists here. I would debate that, like, the Proud Boys are domestic terrorists here, but could Mexico call the Proud Boys terrorists in Mexico? No.
Oh, but there's really no presence of the Proud Boys in Mexico.
But could they, right? They
sure,
wouldn't do
yeah.
That makes no sense.
Well, I mean, it's just like, we don't have any presence of Hezbollah or Hamas here, but other than their supporters. But we still designate them terrorist groups. It's like what you said with Mexico. If they want to designate the Proud Boys terrorist group as a terrorist group, that's fine. I don't care. I mean, honestly, I just think they're a bunch of idiots.
The reason Trump is doing that is to be able to do things to give himself extra power for deportation. It's not because they're terrorists, right? You can't name a thing that MS-13 has done here that is trying to affect our politics or our ideology. They don't do that here.
Well, the question is, the thing is, they can't do that here. It's not that they don't do that here. Yeah, but if they had the resources and the if we were as lawless as Mexico or other Central or South American countries, you better believe they would do the same thing.
Well,
So I
like,
don't see
they started here in LA.
MS-13.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. I think they're an offshoot of a South American gang, or not South American, Central American gang, right?
They are native to the United States.
I could have sworn they came from, or they're an offshoot of a Central American gang.
The reason Trump gave for them being a terrorist group is that he was saying that Venezuela was controlling MS-13, and then we had people in Trump's administration come out with reports that there was no proof that they were controlling MS-13, and Trump's DOJ fired them for coming out and saying that.
Oh yeah, they're what is it? Yeah, Salvadorian immigrants. That was a mistake on my part. Yeah, I mean, I don't like the idea of having designated you wouldn't consider the Bloods or Crips really to be a terrorist group, but I do think that there needs to be some kind of separate kind of
we have laws against gang violence.
Yeah, well, we also have laws I think it's against the law to be in a gang, ain't it?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it is in certain states. Okay, but I mean, I think if they're here, if they're citizens here, I don't think they should be deported. If they're citizens of other countries and they've came here illegally, yeah, deport them. I don't think that we should let them here just simply because, if they fled El Salvador for, violence or.
It's not inherently illegal to be in a gang, is what AI tells me.
Okay, I got something a little different, but I'm using Elon's little AI thing. I guess, but yeah, I do think if they have attachments to gangs, they should be deported, or if they're in a gang, if they're here illegally, or if
I feel like we should be able to adjudicate that with a judge and a hearing so that you can represent your side. So like, my contention with like Abrego Garcia, for instance, his knuckles, like the leafy substance, and then the smiley face, and then the cross, and then the skull. If you're trying to justify his deportation without hearings and calling him MS-13, you would say that stands for MS-13. If you're somebody else on the street, you would say that means smoke ganja, get high, praise God till I die. That's what other people say, which makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah, I'm not really up on gang tattoos. I do know that they use codes and stuff like that. So I mean, it might make sense. But then again, it can, tattoos can have multiple interpretations.
And should you go to jail for the rest of your life for doing that? And again, this is how Trump is keeping border numbers down so low, is he's doing authoritarian crazy shit like this.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to make up for the fact that the previous guy let in about 10 million people.
That's also propaganda. It's not true. There's no statistics or data that show that to be even close to be true. Trump just says that on his campaign. The real number is about 1.5 million.
So he let in one. Okay, yeah, it's bad. It's just not that bad. Gotcha.
It's not so bad that the next president gets to break laws and be authoritarian. There's nothing that bad, right?
Pretty much it. For the past decades has done authoritarian things. I mean, Obama was killing U.S. citizens without trial.
So again, like if you're justifying affiliating people to be terrorists, then that's what that guy was. So
you talking about the guy who did the drone strike?
Yep.
With Obama, you talking about?
Yep.
That's what I was mentioning. Well, what about his son, who had no affiliations with terror groups?
I don't know. I say that we should condemn it in both instances, not justify more and more to happen.
No, I agree. I think that's the problem with the country is ultimately the president has just gotten so much power, and the next his successor eventually opens up the gates to get more power and more, and it's not good. I mean,
again, I think Trump is like the worst at doing this. I think he's consolidating power and using wartime law and law that says that like we're under invasion and stuff, while also lying to y'all to justify it. So like there's people even just on his tweet today, it says that 21 million illegal people came here during Biden's presidency. The Department of Homeland Security doesn't show that. Nothing shows that. We had more people deported during Biden's presidency by far. So you'd have to justify how in the world he had an open border if he deported more people, etc. It's just a bunch of propaganda that all in all, when you look at it, Biden didn't really do much to change the laws at the border at all. In fact, he was trying to urge people in Congress to write bills to help it.
Well, I think what was your previous point, where how can he be saying that we have an open border? It's simple. If you're deporting, if you deport say 1 million people and then 2 million people come in, it's really what is it? It really doesn't do much now, does it?
It does, because he had a higher deportation rate. So 50% versus 47. So Biden deported at a higher risk, or at a higher rate.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah, I mean, still, I couldn't really stomach supporting Biden or Kamala, to be honest with you. I didn't vote for Trump, but I like a lot of his policies. So, I mean, I like the fact that we're kind of stepping back from the world stage a little bit, letting the Europeans take control of what they have to do. And Israel, I don't think they're the best ally we've ever had, especially with all this stuff they pulled in the past couple of decades. So, but
yeah, I don't know. I feel like foreign politics changed with the wind with Trump. I mean, I guess it depends on, in my opinion, who is more corrupt. I think that Trump favors dictators and people who give him lots of money. That's the only pattern I've seen. He really likes Bukele, who is authoritarian. He likes Putin, authoritarian. He likes Viktor Orban, authoritarian dictator. He likes Netanyahu, authoritarian. It's all the same. He doesn't make friends with anybody who are the good guys, who champion the ideals of the West and upholding democracy. He more or less has done everything he can to stomp on the rights and to suppress the media that oppose his political ideology. I think it's very disturbing, very scary, and I think we're in the midst of history right now with Trump in office.
I mean, I definitely think it's a part of history, but then again, everything is. But I don't think, I wouldn't quite call Netanyahu an authoritarian. I think he's a strong man, but I don't think he's an authoritarian. But also,
how long has Netanyahu been in office?
Probably, what is it? Almost a decade now.
Yeah.
He's been there a while.
How long? I mean, how do you think he's been there? How long? How do you think he's been able to stay in office?
Probably through legal trickery, I imagine.
Invoking wartime law.
Legal trickery. I mean, but you have to look at the kind of situation that Israel's. Well, not currently, I imagine. Well, about to say that would. That's a hard one to defend. But then again, I'm not the biggest fan of Netanyahu either. I think he's an arrogant.
Ziara, I'm sorry, guys. I can't accept anyone up. The guest cannot hear what any of my guests on TikTok would be able to say. Yeah, he's wanted by the international courts for committing war crimes.
Yeah, but I don't. I mean, those courts are. What is it? They're not. They're political courts, to be honest with you. At least I feel that way.
I think that every authoritarian has people that will claim the same exact thing when their leaders wanted by those courts.
But I mean, you got to look at it look at the Iraq War with Bush. Bush was, I believe, Bush was wanted by those courts, wasn't he?
If he wasn't, he should have been. Do you think that would have been wrong to be saying that we were there for no reason?
We were there. You're talking about Iraq. If you're talking about Iraq, then yeah, we were there to install a democracy in the Middle East. That was.
Are you sure we went there to find weapons of mass destruction that never turned up?
That was the excuse, but the real reason we were there was to basically knock over Saddam and try to install a democracy that would be a separate democracy that would be an ally of ours other than Israel. Yeah. Unfortunately, people in the Bush administration weren't didn't quite get the idea that you can't just make a democracy out of nothing. But I mean, if they would have arrested him, I would have been all for it. I think he was a fool, and I think his little gambit in Iraq and Afghanistan was definitely something that was worthy of arrest. And not only that, I mean, yeah. But I mean, honestly, you kind of have to make friends with nasty people if you want to have a good foreign policy.
Not really.
I mean,
I don't think you have to make friends with dictators, give them any sort of presence on the world stage, or acknowledge them on the world stage. That's exactly how dictators stay in power, is they get snippets of other politicians praising their actions, like Trump calling Putin brilliant man, saying Putin can do whatever the hell he wants, and condemning NATO. All of these things Russian state media plays over and over on repeat for their constituents so that they can stay in power. Same thing with, Kim Jong-un. All these people, they show their citizens clips of other world leaders praising them, and that's the last thing you should do.
well, I mean, the way I look at it is kind of like you've heard, who the Shah of Iran was, right?
No.
You were was it the previous government before the Khomeini government, or Khomeini's dead now, but before the theocracy that is in control of Iran now, there was a guy called the Shah. There was a title, was basically the king of Iran. He was quite the authoritative guy. He was not a nice guy, tortured people who disagreed with him. But I would say he was probably much better than the theocratic government they have now. Nixon was a good friend of his. Jimmy Carter kind of moved away from him when the revolution happened.
I know this is helping your cause, bro.
Well, I'm
Nixon?
saying, Nixon wasn't a great guy, but I mean, the Shah was definitely a better option than the current government that is in Iran, which is currently funding terror groups all over the Middle East. I mean, the Shah had great relations with Israel at the time too. So I mean, the way I see it is there's always worse things that can come, especially in unstable regions like the Middle East. If you knock over a dictator, look at Syria. They got a guy who's basically a jihadist who's in control of the country right now. I mean, Assad's not a nice guy. Don't come to the conclusion that I'm defending Assad. He was an awful human being, but it could be worse.
I don't know. I feel like we're getting off track.
Okay, what do you want to get back to?
I think Trump's foreign policy is a disaster, and if you have any knowledge of who's bad on the world stage, Trump is trying to go over there and make handshake deals with them, and I feel like he's being played. Like, we can easily see he's being played by Putin. He's like, me and Putin go back forever, and then in another breath, he's I was never friends with Putin. But it turns out he's good friends with Putin. Putin's been playing him, and he's bombing the fuck out of Ukraine still. Trump said he's going to stop the Ukraine war in a matter of 24 hours. That didn't happen. He's done nothing but embolden Russia, pull back support for Ukraine, pull back military intelligence for Ukraine, giving Russia free blows. Same thing with Israel until he couldn't get a hold of Netanyahu, who is committing an actual genocide in Palestine, who Trump made an AI video championing the idea of westernizing Gaza. I mean, absolutely disgusting. And he gets a $400 million praying from the Saudis. I mean, he's just an obvious grifter / corrupt con man who's just, whoever's got the most money is going to have the U.S. shaking hands with him.
I mean, I think there's a lot of Trump's foreign policy to be desired. Or there's a lot to be desired from his foreign policy. I think the whole Putin thing is, he probably has a friendly relationship with him. I don't doubt Putin is taking advantage of that. He's a former KGB officer. Of course he is. He's he knows how to play the game. But I think with the whole Israel thing, I'm not going to use the whole G word and everything. I haven't researched the topic enough to kind of put a stake in one side or the other. I do like the fact that we're walking away from are kind of seem to be stepping away from the tight relationship we had with them. And I think if Netanyahu is truly committing the G word, then it was a good decision. Ultimately, I mean, Trump's an egotistical person.
Who could have seen it coming? It's almost like we were screaming this.
What, that Israel is doing what they're doing?
Yeah.
Or I mean, if you look, I hate to get into the whole Israel-Palestine thing, but Hamas is definitely, they're making it rougher on their citizens for propaganda purposes. I mean, they really don't care if Palestinians die. They really don't. And I think Netanyahu doesn't really care either. So you've got two parties that really don't care about the people who are getting.
I don't think that's true. There's plenty of Israelis who condemn the G-side in Gaza.
I mean, I'm talking about Netanyahu. I'm talking about the leaders. I mean, other than the fact that I think it's a coalition cabinet right now. So there's probably some left wingers in Netanyahu's cabinet that probably do care. But ultimately, since Netanyahu's at the helm, I can't say for certain he doesn't care. I'm pretty sure he doesn't, though. And I know Hamas doesn't care because they'll, put weapons in hospitals, and they won't let people in the tunnels that they make for their weapons. So obviously they don't care. So you're stuck between two rocks, a rock and a hard place, I guess is what the saying would be. But Putin seems to be taking all advantages he can with Trump, and hopefully, I'm sitting here hopefully thinking that maybe with the situation that happened in Turkey, and Trump seems to be getting more and more disillusioned with Putin, so hopefully something good comes out of that. We'll see.
Alrighty.
All right, man. It was a good talk. Appreciate you having me on. You have a wonderful day.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Have a good one.
I'm sorry, chat. I'm sorry. I'll talk to you real quick, Zara. Chat, don't forget to give me a follow, give me a thumbs up if you're on YouTube. Also, we have memberships on YouTube. If you guys are trying to send me extra love, become a member. What's up?
Hey, Pickles, how are you?
Doing good. Sorry. So when I have callers that call in from my phone line, the people on TikTok can't talk to them. They won't
That
connect.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense with the apps interconnecting. I won't take up much of your time, but I just realized I never really did actually kind of introduce to you what I do for work. I can't say where I work, but I work as a data journalist, and my research focus area is actually terrorism, both foreign and domestic.
Oh, wow.
Which is why I was sort of pushing to come up, because these narratives being pushed about terrorism are just a little bit dangerous and inflammatory. But basically with the past two guests, I mean, a first guest, we can agree that's just a write-off because they were very clearly a child that had snuck their way in.
Yeah.
But yeah, my particular research area at the moment actually is the PLO, so the Palestinian Liberation Organization. I'm in the middle of writing about them in my dissertation. But yeah, first and foremost, when it comes to things like terrorism globally, there is no accepted universal definition of terrorism. And it's simple because the spectrum is too big. We've got ethno-nationalist terrorism, we have got religious terrorism, we've got what's observed in David Rappaport's 4 waves of modern terrorism, which is New Left, anti-colonial. I can send you the work that I've done thus far if you can stomach reading it. But yeah, so first and foremost, when people come up and immediately isolate groups or gangs as being terrorists, it's what makes a group a terrorist organization is actually in their motives and in the methods that they are executing, right? So yeah, for instance, one of the PhD candidates that I work with, she's actually arguing at the moment that all of the school pew-pewing that is happening in America is a form of domestic terrorism. So the only thing that academics can actually agree on when it comes to terrorism is that we all agree it is to achieve the purpose of psychological persuasion. So for instance, like school pew-pews, you know, we see it in domestic violence a lot too. That's another research area that I have, domestic family violence. But yeah, when it comes to groups like the PLO in Palestine and Israel, the previous guest, sorry, I will go in a minute because I'm probably being boring. The previous guest made a point that, there's probably left-wingers in Netanyahu's cabinet that don't agree with him. The Likud, which is Netanyahu's political party, they are extremely right-wing. There are no left-wingers in cabinet. It's that simple. The most recent opinion polling coming out of Israel actually shows a 15% increase to Israelis turning towards conservatism and agreeing with far-right policy. Another thing I'm happy to send to you as well, because that's something I'm actually talking about in depth in my dissertation at the moment. So Israel is actually increasingly going right, which is extremely concerning. And in the opinion poll, we actually found that 87% of Israelis agree with wiping out Gaza and the West Bank now.
God.
So this is kind of what we're dealing with. Yeah, but I thought I would just give you those sort of talking points as well. Again, that's all because that requires facts and statistics. I will send those notes through to you. And I'll include in there too, so you can see where I'm getting this information as well. So it's not just coming straight from me. I've referenced and cited and sourced it all. But yeah, I really just wanted to bring up those couple of points because I don't think a lot of people who want to have conversations about terrorism actually understand what it is and how it works.
Thank you so much for that insight. Thank you.
Yeah, that's all good. I'll send that all. I'm actually about to just quickly go to work and I'll be back in a few hours, so I'll send it through then.
Okay, sounds good.
See ya.
All right, bye. Chat, I'll be right back. Okay. Guys, we're trying this new Waterloo flavor spiced mango sorbet. Yeah. Yeah, and my dog is way fucking cute. Pickles, say hi. Here we go, guys. All right, we're turning the phone line back on. Go easy on me, MAGA. Hello, is this a Trump supporter?
Well, not necessarily. I'm an American. I'm anti-Democrat. But so let's talk about mainstream media for a second, okay? So most media is controlled by the left.
Not true.
Correct. Or am I wrong?
Actually, most social media, first of all, has
No, not social media. Hold on.
I'm gonna go point by point. Okay.
Legacy media.
Who owns Fox News?
Oh, I don't know. Fox News is the only mid-ground we have. MSNBC, ABC, NBC, CBS, they're all controlled by leftists. So the last 4 years of the Biden administration, who's been supported by media?
Okay,
who have they supported?
CNN owned by a Republican.
So who have they supported? How's the coverage been of Joe Biden in the last 4 years?
Not great. Not great.
No, wrong. They love that man. They just now started coming out with the facts that he was a deteriorated vegetable.
Okay, what do most Americans watch? Do they watch social media or do they watch the news?
The older generations probably watch Legacy. Younger generations are tapping into social media.
Okay, and who owns most of social media? Who has the most following on social media, left or right?
I would assume the
The right.
left.
The right. By a rate of 3 times, I believe.
So social media is watched by Republicans. Legacy media is watched by Democrats.
I think Fox News is by far like the biggest media outlet, and they're owned by Fox. They're owned by Rupert Murdoch, who is Republican conservative.
Okay, I got another question for you. Why is that? Credibility?
Definitely not credibility.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I would say so.
They're the only company that has a $750 billion or $1 million lawsuit for lying to the media or lying to the public about the election being stolen. Also, in multiple lawsuits, they have used in their defense that nobody could possibly take them seriously and that they're an entertainment network, not a news network.
I did not know that. You're good with your facts. But no, Joe Biden, they didn't cover him deteriorating. They didn't at all. Mainstream media did not.
Okay, I
cover
don't know
that.
how this is a gotcha. We have I can read you Trump from I can read you a speech from this week from Trump, and it
Yeah.
sounds like a 5th grader stumbling through a project. It
Just
sounds
Trump
worse
does.
Yeah, so I would say Trump is by far worse than Biden in terms of like mental acuity.
You would say Trump is worse than Biden.
Yeah, and I'm dead serious. Yes. Do you think batteries?
Even though,
Do you think magnets go poof underwater?
Trump does say some stupid stuff.
Do you think that the late great Hannibal Lecter endorses Trump?
Trump couldn't get through a debate, or I mean, Biden couldn't get through a debate.
Okay, Trump
Like,
still says insane shit, right? He says it all day.
Well, yeah, he's a wild man.
Do you think there were airports in the Revolutionary War?
That'd be a negative, but
do you think we should nuke
but
hurricanes?
let's go back to the facts though. Joe Biden had positive press coverage. Everything they did was scripted, and they've been supporting him throughout the entire process until it was too late, and they realized he was just completely done. Couldn't talk anymore.
Joe Biden
All
was the
the
most
town
productive-
halls were.
He's the most productive president we've had in like 40 years, 50 years.
Productive or progressive?
Productive.
I'd say progressive. What about the $93 billion they just found they gave to who was it? I should have got my facts straight, wrote down before I talked to you. But no, Joe Biden has been given.
The historians call him 14th best president of all time. Trump is
No,
last.
he's actually No, I would say he's the worst, or third worst.
Well, I would hold your opinion high if you could name like 2 pieces of legislation Joe Biden passed.
2 pieces of legislation Joe Biden had passed. Oh, just. Well, no, it's more than just that.
That's all it is. You elect people to get into office to write and pass legislation. That's it.
You do, and then also a name brand. He's also a name brand, just like the open borders. They are a name brand.
That is a marketing scheme that Trump gave you. So, like, you say the borders are open. Can you tell me a thing Joe Biden did to open the borders?
Okay, so the thing, he had agents go down there. Remember when they sent in the National Guard and they said, no, we've got to allow people to come across, or we've got to control the situation, blah, blah, blah. So we need to cut down this barbed wire.
Yeah.
They put up.
So that
remember that?
Yeah. So that was not a thing that Joe Biden did to open the borders, and this was determined by the Supreme Court. States cannot enforce the borders of our nation. That is under the purview of the federal government. So that was a political ploy by Greg Abbott. He knew what he was doing just to get you guys to have a knee-jerk reaction to it. That has always been the case. We cannot have states enforce our own.
Wait. That's still the name brand. That's the name brand. So they went down there and put razor wire on the border He said we've got to get agents in there. We've got to cut these so we can deal with this.
Yeah, you can't
Bullshit.
You can't enforce the border
Yeah.
if some random asshat in a wheelchair is installing barbed wire on the border.
Well, put barbed wire up. Stop the flow.
So
or am I wrong?
that doesn't do anything. So if there's a
Yeah.
there's a law called 8 USC 1158, and if you were to step one toe into our borders, you could say I claim asylum, and then what does a border agent have to do? If they see you, they either have to detain you or they have to put you in the immigration system, and they have to climb through that razor wire to do that. That is a horrible way to do this. That's why we don't have razor wire all over the fence. That's why we don't have anything like that across the entire border. Only weird ass Greg Abbott does that.
Come through the port of entry like everybody else. Do your
That's not the law.
documentation and come into America.
8 USC 1158 says you do not need to come to a port of entry. You can claim asylum even up to 1 year. That is the law.
That's why we're funneling all this money through these churches to get all these illegals in. What
Maybe we
was
should
it?
tax the
What
churches.
year? What year did they start counting illegals on the census?
I don't know, but if you're talking about like Texas,
You know, no,
doesn't
no.
that go
That's
into
very
your favor?
important. That is very important. They started counting illegals on census so they could build these democratic cesspools up with more seats, more control, more power. So why would you want illegals to come through? What benefits do Democrats have? What does anybody have from illegals coming over? One, cheap labor. Cheap labor.
1790.
Hold on.
1790 is the first year we started counting them in the census.
1790. Yeah, 90s.
No,
Okay,
1790.
so yeah, I heard you 1790. But for zoning areas and everything else, I want to say the Democrats passed something under Obama for to where it helps them out more.
Then why
on
did
the
Obama
census.
deport so many?
I don't know.
He deported a record amount.
I'll have to look all these stats up for myself. I'm sure you're pulling it off of Google AI, which is actually skewed in one direction.
This is from the Dome. I've Googled one thing since we started talking. You said when they started counting them in the census. That's all I got.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. So what is it? What do illegals in America benefit anyone?
They benefit the economy.
No, not necessarily. I mean, look at all the money they pumped into hotels. It's their buddies. It's the
Those are all
actual
asylum
oligarchy.
seekers.
Yeah, the oligarchy.
The oligarchy?
Like these big hotel chains are getting max dollars for these, you know what I mean? They've got buddies. So the max capacity in these hotels, and then the government pays premium price for all these hotels, you know what I mean, that they're renting
Those are
out to
asylum
the
seekers.
asylum seekers, yes, which they also got coached on coming from the South up here, free government phones, what to do, you know what I mean?
Let me ask you something. Who is the first person to give all of these Venezuelan asylum seekers? Who's the first person to give them all temporary protective status?
Tell me.
Trump, 4 hours before he left office the first time. Do you think that made some of them come over?
Ooh, that would be a nasty little ploy. I can't. So we did have in 2021 an increase in border crossings.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah. I'd have to look that up. Well done. Well done. But yes, for the past 4 years. And then, you said there was only 1.5 million people that had come across under Joe Biden.
That's me being generous, yeah.
Well, those stats are, how many do they not know about?
You're talking about gotaways? That is 1.5 million.
Yeah. Well, there's got to be more than that.
That's what the
You're
estimate
telling me
is.
under
The
Joe
Department
Biden in 4 years, we've only had 1.5 million people come here.
Those are non-citizens. So there's 1.5 million gotaways. And the Department of Homeland Security also sees that since Biden deported so many people, the net amount of people still here that aren't counting gotaways, it went from 11.7 million to about 13 million.
13 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 11.7
So-
to 13, that's 1.2 plus maybe 1.5 gotaways, maybe. Those are counting people like footsteps in the stand that never turned up a person.
Okay, so 13 million have came across
No,
in
those-
total
yeah, since like forever ago.
since forever. Not just in the past 4 years.
Correct.
13 million in total. Yeah, I was looking at that earlier. But so how many people have came over? But also, so this one guy that was MS-13, they deported him. What was his name?
Alleged MS-13 Abrego Garcia.
Wasn't he a domestic abuser?
Never, he was never adjudicated for that. So if you don't
And never.
if you don't require the courts to adjudicate someone for a crime, then I mean, I don't know. Trump has been adjudicated for sexual abuse. You think he's done it?
We're not talking about Trump right now. We're talking about
your
Garcia.
level for evidence, right?
So yes, domestic abuse. He was called in on domestic abuse, correct?
And so was Trump.
Well, we're not talking about Trump. We're talking about the left's champion right now.
Well, it's not our
Garcia.
champion. We're talking about people. First of all, it's not just the fact that we want him back and we want him here to stay. We want every single person kidnapped by the Trump regime to have due process. That's what we want.
They should not have due process.
Why do you say
They
that?
came here illegally. They broke the
doesn't matter.
law getting into the country.
Prove it.
They broke the law
it.
coming here to America.
So did you. I'm sending you to prison.
I have a birth certificate. I was
Yeah,
born
you can
here.
show that in court that you'll never go to.
You go try breaking into another country and see how that works out for you.
Yeah, well, show your
Go
birth
try
certificate to
breaking
the
into
judge,
Poland.
who you'll never see. You're straight to
Yeah,
CCOT.
try going into Poland right now, guy.
Hey, tell that to the judge who you'll never see. Straight to prison for the rest of your life, bro. For the rest of your life.
Well, here's what I think should happen with that, though. They should go to a foreign nation. They should go through due process in their own country.
Okay, that's
they
still
don't
doesn't
deserve
change the
due
fact
process
that
in America.
we sending people to prison for the rest of their lives on a hunch, not good enough for me.
They came over here illegally. They broke the law getting in.
That doesn't
I
matter.
mean, honestly, if you want another stat, 60% of women are raped coming across the border. So, you know what I mean? Like, most of these men are probably criminals in the first place that are coming up.
That's not fleshed out in the data that we have here in the United States. So out of all of the non-citizens, out of all of the grapes that happened last year, roughly 1,000 of them happened while we have 13 million people of that nature here. So if your statistic is
one is too many. One American killed by an illegal is too many.
Then Trump should not be in office. If one's too many, Trump has 28 allegations.
Well, how many of them are fake? Just like that one porn
According
star.
to you, none of them. They don't need to be. They don't need to go to court. They're just immediately guilty, right?
No, if somebody commits a crime, they deserve to be punished for it. We're both on the same page when it comes to that. How many rape allegations were there against Joe Biden? What
Zero.
about Bill Clinton?
0.
How many were paid off before they ever got there? What about the Clintons? What about the Clintons?
You'd have to prove that.
There you go. You want proof when it comes one-sided.
No, I want proof every single time, right?
Yeah, what about Bill Clinton?
Yeah, do we have proof on that?
Oh, there's been people that have came forward, but it's just the same as Trump.
Trump has 28 more.
Yeah, how many does Bill Clinton honestly have, though? How many people would...
I don't know of any Bill Clinton.
Hillary
What are you talking about?
Yes, Bill Clinton has had people that have said that Bill Clinton has raped them.
No, if you're talking about Monica Lewinsky, that was consensual. No,
not Monica. No, not Monica Lewinsky. There was a lady that said she was raped by Bill Clinton. She was threatened by Hillary Clinton. God, I can't remember her name. That was a while back, though. They've kind of been out of the spotlight for a minute, so everybody's forgot all this stuff. But No, Bill Clinton, same. And Epstein Island visits? How many times did Bill Clinton go to Epstein Island?
I don't know. I don't want to talk about that. I just got banned on my other account
You-
for this one.
Okay, fair enough. You can't talk about that. But I wouldn't want to talk about that either, because it's a stain on the left. But
Trump is best friends with this person. I don't know how that's a stain on the left.
no, he was not. He was not a friend of Epstein. He denounced Epstein. He was at one of his... Epstein came to one of his parties. He
They
kicked him
were
out or
absolute
something.
best friends. They have more pictures than with anyone else.
No, nonsense. He came and got one picture with him.
No,
It's
you
been
can
proven.
literally, you can Google it. There's like over 30 pictures.
I don't have a laptop sitting in front of me. I wish I did. But no,
They
there
were
was
best
like
friends
one of
until
them.
he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago for some disagreement they have. No one really knows what that is.
It was probably nasty stuff. It was probably like Epstein. I don't know. I'm not going to clear Trump of all charges on this one in the court of public opinion. But, you know what I mean? We don't know about that. But Bill Clinton is on the flight log, I think 24 times going to Epstein
And Trump's got 7,
Island.
right?
Trump was on there for 7 times?
Mm-hmm.
No. No, I got to Google this one. Let's Google this one. How many times? Ooh, there's a lot to read through. Seems. List of Jeffrey Epstein tapes.
Mentioned on page 24, page 27. He had 3 dates listed on the same flight. On 93. Got some good pictures of him.
Yeah.
He was also named in a deposition of a 13-year-old girl listing Trump and Epstein as her abuser.
19. Okay, 2 headphones years ago. Trump's evidence of Trump visiting Epstein's private island. Where? So, political fact.
Katie Johnson.
No evidence of President-elect Donald Trump visited Jeffrey Epstein's private island. President Trump and Jeffrey. The same parties in the 90s. At least 7 times, okay.
Okay, yeah. Show that
Political fact.
D. Trump's name listed 7 times as a passenger on Epstein's planes.
Wow, that's pretty nasty. That is enlightening. That's a good little fact you got there. I guess I didn't Google that one. Well done. Okay, so he had gone to Epstein's island. Okay, so why is he trying to release the tapes and everything else to the public eye? Well,
He's
it's
not
not like
doing
he
that,
can't
right?
control it. Well, under Pam Bondi, he said we're releasing this information, and they did
And
release.
G dang it, like Pam Bondi, the person he appointed, is not letting him do it? Come on. We're smarter than that, right?
He controls the information. Okay. So you 100% got me on that one. I'll look further into that one, though. Oh, yeah, I guess he had gone to the Epstein Island. I will look that one up, though. Further details. But, yeah. But Garcia, though. Okay, I'll give you that. 100%. You win that one. But Garcia, though, was a domestic abuser. That's why he was called in.
He was not adjudicated for it. He was not convicted. His wife dropped
He-
those charges. And the same thing I could say about anybody else, depending on who it is. For you, your level of evidence required to say this person is guilty is different for these two people. That's why I'm saying this is wrong. Second of all, even if he was a domestic abuser, before anybody is picked up and sent to a country where there is a court order that says specifically you're not supposed to be sent to this country, you need due process so that doesn't happen. They didn't do this properly.
He came here. Where's the Me Too movement now?
Listen,
Where's the Me Too movement now?
Under the Fifth Amendment, what does the Fifth Amendment say?
You've got a domestic abuser. He obviously wouldn't have gotten called in for domestic abuse unless it had happened. We believe everything, I'll leave that alone. But so he got called in for domestic abuse. He's had a pattern of it in the past. What's his criminal record overseas?
No criminal record on either country.
Okay, so he did get called in on domestic abuse. So he came here illegally. Most likely he beat a woman.
Class C misdemeanor. It's like a speeding ticket.
Speeding ticket. That's fine. But he did get called in on domestic abuse. So obviously he had done something wrong because he wouldn't have gotten called in on that.
He had a heated argument with his wife and she dropped it. Second of all, it doesn't matter. Even if you are accused of domestic abuse, you should still get a judge to hear your case before you're sent to prison for the rest of your life. Don't you think? That's what we're arguing about. We don't champion Abrego Garcia. We don't think he's the greatest person on earth. We're saying we don't want the president to be able to do this to people. To me, to you, to anybody else, some grandma living in Florida. I don't care. We don't want this to happen to anybody. Nobody's
He's not going to do it to American citizens that are here legally.
We've had multiple American citizens detained by ICE already. Yes, we do not want this to happen to them.
American citizens were rounded up and shipped off without due process.
No, well, yes, some children have been, yes. Like a 2-year-old with cancer, a 4-year-old with cancer have been shipped off with no due process, yes.
Actual American citizens born in America.
Yep.
With American parents.
Yes. No.
Born and raised.
One American parent, one non-American parent.
Still illegal.
No,
half right, half wrong.
What's the 14th Amendment?
They came here illegally.
No.
You came here illegally, guy.
The 14th Amendment?
So just like that one judge that released the criminal, you know what I mean, behind ICE showed up to the courthouse. This is part of the problem, though. You have judges releasing criminals when ICE shows up to pick them up.
Okay.
What was his crime?
I don't know.
So
you're obfuscating. The 14th Amendment says anyone born on U.S. soil is a citizen of the United States, right? That's in the Constitution.
You're obfuscating the facts.
No.
You're obfuscating.
These young children who were deported by Trump. You're calling them illegal? No, they are U.S. citizens. They are U.S. citizens.
Well, birthright citizenship is up for it's. Yes, they're trying to do away with that right now.
Okay.
But
Trump is
you come here illegally.
Yeah.
You come here illegally. You break the law and you get busted. The people, they're shipping off the criminals first. And all the criminals should be shipped off.
It's not true.
I don't want criminals in America.
70% of the people who were sent to CCOT, you know the prison in El Salvador? 70% had no criminal conviction in either country.
And how long were they here illegally?
I mean, what difference if it's 10 years or 1 year? What does it matter?
You're breaking a law, right?
It's a Class C
misdemeanor.
misdemeanor.
The law.
It's like a speeding ticket. Are you a criminal now? Because I know you've sped before, right?
Yeah, I've been nailed for speeding.
Yeah,
it's been a long time.
Citizen, illegal, straight to jail, rest of your life.
Well, you're here illegally. You broke the law. First,
it's the same thing.
Getting in the country.
Ticket.
You broke the law coming in.
It's a speeding ticket.
We try going into another country and see how bad it is.
I will.
You know what I mean?
I will. And I promise you, they won't send me to jail for the rest of my life.
You go into Mexico or Canada illegally, and you stay there, you know what I mean? Eventually, they're going to get you.
And they'll give me a goddamn misdemeanor.
Bullshit.
Name a country where you get a felony for fucking entry without inspection. Tell me.
Poland. You break into Poland illegally and they kill you. They shoot you on the border.
Highly doubt it.
Nope. Look it up. Poland's got it right. Look it up. Poland. They shoot on sight if you're trying to break in illegally. If you come through the port of entry properly, like you should, you know what I mean? It's a little different situation.
All
But
right.
if you try to break in illegally into Poland, they shoot.
All right. We're going to have to check this real quick, and then I got to go.
Okay, fair enough. Poland does shoot on sight.
What is the punishment for illegal migration into Poland? The punishment for illegal migration to Poland varies depending illegal border crossing, simple illegal crossing, without using threat or deception. They may be subject to a fine. Crossing with force.
No,
threat,
that's
deceit, individuals cross the border illegally through use of force, threat, deception, complicity, imprisonment for up to 3 years.
no. Here recently, they've been shooting people. I watched a video. There's
Bro, this is why I'm getting
You can
banned on
watch it,
YouTube,
though.
because this is misinformation. I gotta go.
no. That's